All the thoughts we say in this podcast are our own. So please don't say about things.
LTS.
Kick back, relax, and enjoy the LTS podcast.
My best friend.
Hail and well met. Listeners, welcome to the Life, Tech, and Sundry podcast. Today, we have the big three, as usual. And of course, a special guest and hopefully another one on the way. But right now, from top to bottom, it is I, Marcos. And then here on the list, we have Elaine. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Eileen.
Whoops, Eileen, sorry. And then we have Mr. J.
Yes, that is I.
And last but certainly not least, Alan.
What's going on, family? How y'all doing? Glad to be back, and I can't wait for this conversation.
As we do, yes. Hopefully we'll have another one come in later on. But for now it's just us four, Let's do this. So you watch a video, right? On YouTube. And it inspires you to do more research about the subject.
Boy.
Oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. Good, okay. That's a good inside, talk between Mr. J and I. Hopefully you've been sharing it with, Alan and Eileen and Monse, but...
obviously not Eileen and Monse, but I shared it to...
Good. Would you like to share?
Boy. Oh, you want me to explain what it means?
Yeah.
Okay, Eileen. Get this. You've heard of video games, right?
Yeah.
God of War. It's the game that I got. And, like a good chunk of the main character's dialogue is boy. Come here. Boy, read this.
Oh.
There you go.
Boy, you're too weak.
No, you didn't say that, but anyway. So you've been on crack again, right, Marcos?
That implies I ever stopped. Crack of knowledge,
So Marcos, let me get this straight.
No,
when you're riding a bicycle, right?
Ooh, that's been a while.
Do you want to protect your elbows, your knees? But what's the most important thing I don't know about that. But what's the most important thing you want to protect when you're riding a bicycle?
It all started with protecting my head with the helmet. So, this is the first story that the US, there's a, unfortunately, for good or for bad, there's a big business to be made with the US military in implementing hardware. Specifically in this case, protecting the soldier's head with helmets. And I was giving Eileen a short story that back in the the early 2000s all the way to, up to the present day, the helmets of the US soldier was made to protect the soldier in non-combat scenarios because they found that soldiers were being wounded in non-combat situations more often than in combat. May that be a soldier tripping and hitting himself against, the side of a tree on march or something like that. So the main objective of the helmet was never to protect them from bullets. And, there's been videos that helmets have been protecting them from bullets or hearsay. But in reality, that's not the truth. It's been, it's more towards shrapnel, indirect fire, if you will. And in some of the videos, you've seen the helmets actually, or you've heard stories, reports that an actual person's been shot and the bullet, deflected the shot from the head. And, this is very good. But as of 2020, the specific companies were pitching to the US military to upgrade the helmets of, the foot soldier that's going to be in combat. And of course, like in everything with science, there's also ramifications like a spider web of different pros that come up. The main con of this obviously is money, right? The world unfortunately doesn't run without money. And they found how they estimated, like Eileen and I were talking about how much the present helmet is worth or costs to produce versus this new proposed helmet that is cost to produce, not only as a helmet but also as a platform for different things. Just for food for thought for everyone here. I already spoiled this one for Eileen, but guess how much does a military military helmet's worth to produce in 2022?
$500.
$2,000.
Close. Eileen, could you please, give them the price for the basic helmet?
It was $3,000, right?
No, it was $300.
Oh, $300.
The OG, this helmet for the present day soldier, it was produced back in the 80s for special forces, and back in the day, each helmet was worth $3,000. But because they did mass production and sold to a lot of other potential buyers, the price, slowly went down. And implementing upgrades to the helmet, like unfortunately making a hole in the front of the helmet so that night vision goggles could be added to the design. But throughout 2017, 2018, 2019, the different military companies or high-tech companies that work with the military have been receiving reports from special forces that this helmet is too heavy, or all the add-on features that is given to me via night vision goggles or those things literally make the helmet heavier and reduce the possibility for them to be even effective soldiers in combat. And the thing that the scientists were saying and the developers were saying, helmets were never made for combat. They're made to protect you while you're not in combat. Let's say you fall off the truck or a Humvee, something like that, and you're on harsh terrain. You're gonna bonk your head. You're done for if you didn't have a helmet. Most of the times you're done for. Or there's indirect fire from shrapnel, all those things. So as of 2020, these companies have pitched in to the U.S. military to give them the latest model and suggestion for the rank and file, the basic helmet that have been in testing with special forces and have been getting upgrades for development to the latest model to be suggested to the military. And the way that this new helmet looks is just basically looks like a Spartan soldier helmet. I'm like, what? No. Why? But hey, if the data's behind it, that their support, that this design works, and the production method, the reason why it's so expensive right now, just the basic model costs, guess how much it costs? If the current helmet costs $300, guess how much the new model helmet costs just as a basic one?
$700.
Mr. J?
Enough.
Eileen?
$1,000.
$1,500, just a basic model.
That's crazy, bro.
For every soldier.
That's too much. That's way too much. Like, what kind of bells and whistles does this helmet have that make it so much better
It
or more
makes you
expensive?
fly.
The way that it's
Right,
designed,
it should.
the construction method, it's the same method that they used to develop the F-22.
So they're aerodynamic. That's the only difference.
No.
Like, what's going on? Are
it
they
gives them-
stealthy?
Basically. No, the style that they were using is more or less the way that they developed with polymers, more or less with plastics, fancy words for plastics, to make it lighter and harder and to withstand to be an insulator in both high temperatures and cold temperatures, and the base of a platform to have flashlight, night vision goggles, what's the thing for gas masks, all those things, and ear protection for those soldiers, and integration with fancy word for sunglasses. I don't know the name for it, but more or less, when there's a flashbang, the glasses go black as fast as possible to not blind the soldier. and the whole helmet is a full-on like a Spartan soldier helmet that protects their ears when they're in gunfights, explosions, has radios integrated into it, and also like the Samsung thing, the 3D spatial awareness with audio, but protects them from blast, and a way to make sure that their ears are safe from gunshot, the side effects of shooting a lot. But yeah, and the basic one right now is $1,500, just a pure helmet feature, but the potential for platforming it into communications, sensory of it, being able to monitor your health, temperature, all those things. What else? Radio, ear protection, gas mask protection, eyewear protection, temperature protection. Right now, they can certify it to 150 degrees Fahrenheit and down to minus 60 degrees Fahrenheit in temperature, with the person not having to wear like a beanie under it. But yeah, that's right now the basic model, and there's still...
Wait.
Yes?
So, sorry, Marcos, for cutting you off. I mean, that sounds interesting, and I'm pretty sure there's like a level of like ingenuity
a tier system.
There's levels to the helmet making game, right? Especially for people, the boys that go out, and girls obviously, that go out to war, whether it be Navy,
To the
Army,
bad places, yeah.
right? So, and I understand you want to invest heavy into the equipment that they use so they can be safe. But how many times do these iterations happen, as far as like in this case, right? We're mentioning helmets. How many years pass by until they get the new upgrades or latest and greatest? And do you find, or in the article or the information you were looking at, does it say to what point will they be able to maybe subsidize the actual making of these helmets so they aren't as expensive, or is that like a company is offered this opportunity to make the helmets for them, for the army or for the government basically, or the armed forces, and that's a set price that it will not fluctuate no matter how much time passes by?
Well, in theory, you're right. But first, the thing that they did was, it was a requirement, because the history of just making helmets goes back, just for the US, goes since, before World War One. And, there's been improvements to these helmets. Just for the current model of the helmets that are made for the foot soldier nowadays is the special forces soldier, that helmet that soldiers used to have in the 80s or used. And those guys used to test run, get the latest and greatest improvements, and give direct feedback. This works, this doesn't work, I want this, I want that, to the companies. But originally, this new requirement for the helmets has been because they're like, bullets are getting stronger, and we want and we don't know the environments that we're going to be throwing our soldiers in the near future, or within at least 5 years. There's a running joke that there's always a 5-year plan for the military, and they're always sending out projects to General Dynamics, to all those kinds of companies, to say, I want the helmet, give me a project, and I'll if it satisfies these because these requirements and money. And then the US finances all that at the beginning, and then sells it to peers, and more or less makes up the difference. But right now that's the current price they have for as of 2022, that they've started implementing them on special forces as the base model. And if they're saying this as a public, imagine what they've already been doing, because this is already public knowledge that they're able to, a $1,500 helmet is running out there already kicking down doors with special forces, and they're giving the feedback.
That's just, I understand what it's for, as Alan pointed out. But it's kind of like back to what Marcos was saying about how this is as far as we know, how far they're going. But, you know, what else could they be doing? And it's like technology has advanced so fast, especially in the military, because of the funds that they do receive and because of the needs they need to satisfy. So it's true, like, how much more do they have, or are they planning?
An example, I don't know if you guys knew, the internet was developed by the military just as a faster way to communicate back in the early 50s and 60s. I'm like, what? All those data links, the radio communications, all those ideas. A microwave was also, you know, inspired thanks to the military. Fast food, the instantaneous food, the ones that you just add water, MREs, colloquially known for some people, they were inspired, they were like more or less given to the public or publicized, I want to say, after the military was using it for a long time. And they, or GPS, just even GPS was originally just the military until they, in the early 90s, they say, okay, everyone can have it in the 90s, and down to a 3 foot or 1 foot diameter, like precision. I'm like, so basically, for good or bad, I can't wait until what's going to be for the public. Once these just with these helmets specifically, I can't, you know, time can't move fast enough, but I'm like, I want you guys, you know, give me your opinion. What's your opinion about this idea of helmets being upgraded for the soldiers first, of course?
So Marcos, real quick,
Yes.
I like, and not to try to like get off topic or anything, but I think if the military or the government as a whole invests time and money into helmets, I can only imagine the amount of money they have to invest in other equipment, technology to better help and assist
batteries.
And anything, whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be for goodness sake, it could be like the boots that they wear, or
the eyeglasses.
Right, or even the chairs that they use to sit down, or the drones that they use. I mean, everything in a whole, I'm pretty sure that they invest crazy amounts of money and time and effort to try to get things just right for the people, like the boots on the ground, to actually, you know, do a great job, an exceptional job. But I also think that it's getting to a point where it might not be so much boots on the ground that are going to need this level of dedication or money that being invested into the technology that they're using. But
when is it too much though?
No, well, I'm saying it more because nowadays I think we're moving more into cyber warfare
It's already been there.
No, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. I think it gets to a point where, yeah, they're going to invest in things like helmets and other equipment. But I think a lot of the times, and I could be totally wrong on this, but we have competition as far as other governments, as far as governments coming up with ingenious ways. Ingenious ways to basically attack us on a cybernetic type of warfare stance, right? So we have people right now that are not our allies per se, like, you know, China or a North Korea or a
near peers
or Russia, that they're on a crazy different level as far as they have protocols on what they need to do or what they want to do or what they have planned to do. If, you know, for just as an example, some sort of electromagnetic type of bomb goes off in the vicinity or over their country, and it shuts down all their electronics and lights and all the gizmos and gadgets, chips get fried. What are their, you know, course of action, right? I think they're better prepared to a certain degree. And again, I could be totally wrong, where it's right now a lot of hearsay about manipulation of social media by countries like Russia or a China, where they could easily infiltrate and
ideologies.
Infiltrate not only things like
social
ideology, but I'm talking about like getting into the Pentagon, you know, what's it called? A lot of the passcodes and stuff like that.
The passcodes, you say? I mean,
Well,
it sounds
again,
funny, but it could be a fact.
Again, I'm not I'm not privy to any of the information. I'm just trying to explain it in as simplest terms as I can, so it doesn't go over people's heads. But again, just going off of that, like trying to draw that distinction between how much do we need to invest not only on boots on the ground and technology for people like that, but also the cyber warfare that we go through now. And I'm pretty sure potentially it's going to get even worse in the future, where you have governments, competing to being, the top dominant country on all fronts. And I think, and I'm not sure, is US number one in this type of warfare?
In cyber warfare?
Again, and that's just a question I posed because obviously we're talking about helmets and I don't want to get off track, but obviously that it's something that comes to mind when I'm thinking about, okay, what is the next war? Where is that going to be held? And is it honestly going to be held on, across enemy lines in a physical sense, or is it going to be across enemy lines?
A combo.
Or obviously a combo, but before you get to that place of being behind enemy lines, is there some sort of, attack where it's a cyber attack and you have to retaliate in the same form or fashion before even sending troops out, right?
Indubitably, undoubtedly, it has. Unfortunately, there has to be in that. It just makes sense, unfortunately. You gotta knock them out before they can even move.
Yeah, because like on the world stage, where does US rank as far as like mathematics or even STEM?
Just the military in itself.
Military, we're number one as far as like we have the most powerful, most devastating, strongest military. But that's not the end all be all anymore. Where you have people that are literally in little offices that are flying drones and dropping missiles from halfway. From halfway around the world.
Yeah, right? But they're all here.
Again, this is facts. But what I'm saying is that if that's the case, do we really need boots on the ground before
to control a place? Maybe. No. Sorry, yeah.
But I'm saying boots on the ground before exhausting our I guess our cybernetic reach, before even considering sending people out that are risking their life for the greater good.
Yeah. And the military undoubtedly has more intelligence, knowing what's out there that they need to prepare for, where they give out this contract or this bid to these companies and say, hey, these are the parameters for just a helmet. What are they?
Right.
I don't even know what's going to go out there. Like where they need to be able to know their health status. They need to know, protect their ears. They need to know to protect them from breathing. Breathing air filters. To have flashlights on, like on the helmets. Basically like a Halo soldier just for the helmet. What are they thinking? Like, where's the line? I mean, us just reverse following the paper trail and says in the sense of money. What are they building up to? Or I can only guesstimate with the actions that they're taking with the requirements versus the military in itself. Like they're reacting. They're being proactive or something like that because of specific requirements versus me over here. I'm like, what's going on? What are you guys doing just when there's already a hard model running out there?
Right. No, I totally get that.
That was what I was saying. Like, you're right. Unfortunately, there's the world is, complicated in that sense. And I'm just over here just with the helmet.
No.
Protect my head.
No, I totally understand. And that makes a lot of sense. That makes total like crazy amount of sense, right? I'm going that route just because, like, obviously, we talk a lot about technology and where it's heading and where we are at the moment. And obviously, at least to me, it seems to be that we are moving towards that cybernetic type of warfare more than just boots on the ground, invading other territories and things of that nature, where maybe it's the least expected or the least defended part of our
or economically.
our way of living or being, where it's like it's as simple as clicking on a link and
You're hacked.
Yeah, you're hacked, bro. And it's like, again, I can't speak too much about it because I don't know much about it. I'm not privy to the information, right? So I totally get the bit apart about the helmets and stuff, and it's very necessary.
What I know. Yeah, that's what I know. I followed that thread.
Right, and that's exactly what the information that the government feels comfortable sharing, right? Because I mean, you don't want to show you don't want to show the enemy your hand. That wouldn't be smart. But then
what is that all bravado? Like, what's the deterrent? The deterrent style versus you can do a combo of both, being flexing your hardware and also keeping some secret stuff.
You know what I think, Marcos?
Yes, monkey.
What? I think that all squares make a circle.
So everything is, it's like Ouroboros. It's self-fulfilling prophecy.
Marcos, listen again. Listen. All squares make a circle.
Yes.
Drop the mic. That's it.
And back to the.
And we're back again.
and just real quick, back to the flexing part. Right now, we're seeing situations like in the, I guess you could say, the Asian Sea, I guess, by Korea, China, and Japan, where North Korea is like dropping bombs, flexing to show that, we're
metaphorically and literally.
Yeah, we're more than capable of doing harm to other countries and whatnot. But at the same time, you have Russia trying to invade Ukraine at the moment. So so there's a lot of things going on that, again, maybe we're not privy to, and there's certain things that a helmet might be something that is going to be needed. It all started with
the helmet,
right? So again, like, what's to say that the US doesn't have like a Control-Alt-Delete per se, right? Just as a quick example, hotkeys to disarm North Korea, right, from all the way over here in the States, and their bomb and their missile system just crash or whatever the case is, right? Again, I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm just saying
there's a story for that with the nuclear reactors in the Middle Eastern country that they hacked it just by a USB.
Yeah, and I'm guessing that's the reason why the US still has a lot of antiquated technology,
redundant,
for like missile heads or warheads, right? Because it's like they're on floppy disks from back in the floppy disks from back in the.
Eileen, do you know what a floppy disk is?
Yeah.
Okay. It's that save button on the left.
Oh no.
Continue. Sorry, Alan.
So Marcos used to store his dojins.
So
they're not big enough.
Right. So floppy disks from back in the whenever floppy disks were created.
That's our TED Talk, and everything begins with the helmet for me. I don't know why. I need to protect my head.
Or maybe you're losing your mind.
No,
but that too. That too.
Do you know? Again, do you know why I'm referring to the floppy disks or not?
It's redundant. It's harder to hack, maybe even because of its pathways to being hacked are not so public.
No,
anymore.
Well, it's antiquated technology. In order for you to actually get into the actual place to arm or disarm, you would physically have to be there and know how to use that antiquated type of technology.
Wild thought here. Do you think it was a good thing or a bad thing? Because it's antiquated and everyone else wants to modernize, everyone else doesn't have that antiquated hardware versus, let's say, just over here. It's sustained internally, upkept and all those things, and it to the point that it more or less becomes proprietary, even though it was public, in the 80s or in the 90s, in the 2000s. But everyone else moved on to the future with faster, better connections, wirelessly, Ethernet, all those things. And then, someone, clicks on the link and gets hacked, or a USB just gets, inserted and, the system's not working anymore. Do you think some people think about it that way?
I think you do because you're afraid of losing your dojins.
Always, every day. I make sure to save my passwords. By handwritten and on my phone. I'm scared of the phone one though. I keep forgetting my passwords sometimes for my passwords.
This is where the helmet comes in.
Yes.
I mean, but knowing that the metaverse is an actual thing and it's gonna progress, are you really that scared? I mean, you'll be able
No.
to. You'll be able to
You
live.
made me smile.
You'll be able to live within your dojo. You can be the protagonist of your own dojin. Like,
Oh no,
So-
you're giving him ideas.
well, again, I don't know how far in the future that's gonna
Gonna
be, but I mean, that's a scary thought because
Who's a scary thought?
the idea that
Oh.
you yourself or anyone for that matter will be
Eileen?
more comfortable living in the digital world than actually, coming out for some fresh air.
Touching grass.
But like,
Just
what if you're so
actually
deep
living.
into the metaverse that it becomes your type of fresh air?
Facts over here.
So it's
Well-
like you're so used to it, you don't even know what it's like, or like it's hard for you to remember what fresh air is, or like what it is to us right now. Because like right now, I mean, yeah, we're into technology now, but it's not that deep in. But I mean, right now, like iPad kids, like they literally can't like do anything unless
can't
they have a
even.
certain amount of.
Wait, but that comes down to the question of, is that a choice or is that a life choice or is that a obligation?
Nature versus nurture, if you will.
Sort of along the same lines. Like,
Tomato,
I
tomato.
mean,
is the parent obligated to hand the kid an iPad? Is what I'm saying.
We don't know.
no, they take the choice.
Yeah,
in a lot of things. So
Again, everything starts
It really
with that
depends.
choice. I think that it all starts with a choice. Just like you choose to get it to be a iOS fan or a Android fan, right?
Yes.
You choose, and if you don't like it, you switch it up. But when you're, I guess, dealt that hand, right? And not everybody comes through the same financial, I guess, situation that everybody else does, right? So not everybody is better financially situated than other people, right? So what's to say that right now the technology, like as an example, how much does the Oculus go for?
I think
Does anybody know?
400.
All right,
400,
do you have
I
Too
think.
much money, that's for sure.
does anybody here in the podcast have that expendable type of money to go and buy Oculus?
I can neither confirm nor deny this.
No, it's
Nah,
just
I
an
have the
easy.
funds.
Yeah.
No.
Do you have the funds to buy one? That's an
No.
easy question, right?
Yeah, no.
And if you were to if you happen to run into the money to buy Oculus, would you use the $400 to $500 to buy the Oculus, or would you use
Nah.
it for something else?
For each and
No.
our cases here right now on the podcast. No, for me, no.
I'm just saying, would you allocate the money that you came to, right? For that Oculus, or would you use it for something else?
Right now, at this point in my life, I'd use it for something else.
Right. So you're answering the question by yourselves. It's like, even if you were to have the money to buy it, would you buy it? The answer is pretty much no. Not because you don't want it. Obviously, you want it because you want to test out the latest and greatest and new type
The
of
cutting edge, if you will.
right, the bleeding edge of technology, right, as it stands right now. But even the bleeding edge isn't quite the same thing as a, Sword Art Online or a, what's the movie that came out back in the
The
day?
Matrix.
The Matrix, or another movie, Ready Player One, right? It's not
Yes.
Right.
to that level. It's not to that level.
Bruh.
So if you were going to invest $400 to $500 at the moment, you're not going to get that experience. You're not. So it'd be kind of redundant to try to do that. I mean, there's people that are going to do it because they want to be in the bleeding edge, right?
They're
they
the
want to be,
trailblazers.
yeah, they want to be first come, first serve type of people. And I totally get that. But on a larger scale, I don't think that that's everybody. Not at the moment.
It can't be physically because they don't got the funds and they don't got the taste for it. Right now, it's like a leisure,
Right.
like a
Right.
leisurely thing.
And again, even if you had the funds, again, you already established for yourself, for you personally, that you aren't willing to dish out the $400 to $500 for that Oculus or for whatever, either.
Even if the funds were there, my tastes aren't, I want to try out the Oculus for blah, blah, blah,
Right.
No.
Unless you have a full drive, like Kirito had, maybe, right?
Nani? Maybe.
Yeah, no. Not even.
Unless you want to get stuck in the digital world, right?
Yeah, like you're proactively trying to, geometry get stuck there, like with the
It's
geometry.
like, unless you're a high school kid with a big comfy chair and a set of goggles, you ain't gonna do it.
And great internet, but I've never thought about this about SEO. They just have really good internet speeds, don't they? There's never an
You
internet
can't
drop.
assume that. Maybe they don't need great internet.
Well,
Right. They never really hashed out or told you how their whole broadband or fiber
what was their pain
optics
right in game?
Right. So, but but again, moving a little away from their actual internet connection, I think the bigger issue here is that because we're not at that stage of where the metaverse is actually, up to snuff or up to par with Ready Player One or SAO or Matrix, right? There is no real sense of you going in there unless you want to look like a cluster of diodes or pixels and say, oh yeah, it looks exactly like me. Like, come on. I don't think we're to that level where we're actually, changing up where I'm able to, pay to play and say, oh, I got an 8-pack now. And, I got a long, luscious, mane for hair. And, I can fly. It's kind of far-fetched.
Yeah,
But
it
then
is. But it's
but
so
then-
fun.
No, hey, I'm not taking away anything away from, it being fun or it being at some point practical. But at the moment, it's just
Practical,
not.
that's a good word right there.
It's just not up to snuff yet. So, and we already answered it for ourselves. I don't think the money equates the actual experience yet.
For example, remember back in the day, I don't know if Eileen ever, lived through this, but there were phone booths. Did you ever find these phone booths, Eileen, in the wild?
What's that?
Phone booth? Like with the quarter ones? The ones that are
Yes,
still
with
out
the
there?
quarter and everything. Yes,
Yeah.
there were
Well,
fancy stuff that you could pay with a card, right, in Mexico as well. That you could put in a card that had a certain amount of credit and you can pay.
Oh, I forgot they do that in Mexico.
I mean, quarter. I don't know what the business was, but here in I know I remember seeing ads here and in Mexico. Call this number to have a sexy time phone call. Imagine that. There
What?
was an entire business of you having a sexy time phone call with someone, and you'd pay someone just to talk, sexy to you more or less.
I think they did that in South Park.
No, right, Alan. This was an actual business, right?
Hey, don't get me involved in whatever you did over there, buddy.
Right? No. This was an actual
It's
business.
all on you, buddy.
Buddy. But yeah, no. But yeah, there was like just dial this number and it would, I don't know what the charges were or stuff like that, but imagine that market flourished with the phone lines.
Well, I mean, even back when having a phone home and pay phones
Yes.
were a thing. I mean, I remember having the yellow pages come to the crib, where you're able to,
Back in the day.
yeah,
In
use
2016 was my last phone book that I picked up for the apartment back in the day.
right. You use a phone book and you have a bunch of numbers, whether it be a mechanic or a plumber, and you
Plumbers,
you had a bunch of phone numbers
With the
in your-
girl street.
from your local area. Well, I don't know about that. Like,
Jenny from the block.
I don't know if that was something that you guys were actually looking into, but
Do you think there were those that people would pay for those numbers in the yellow books?
well,
Yellow
No,
pages?
I remember that sometimes they had since we said house numbers, they would have the family number,
The
Right.
L's. All these L's, catching these L's.
basically.
But I think
and the V's.
what is it, like back in the 80s, right? And we're not going to go too far back in time, right? So just back in the 80s, historically speaking,
Back in time.
before we had a Times Square in Manhattan, all of Times Square for the most part was a bunch of peep shows, like prostitutes hanging around there.
Must have been an awesome time.
Why do you think it was called Times Square? It was the hell of a time in the square.
I guess so, yeah. And even down in the Bronx and Hunts Point, it was notoriously known for prostitutes out in
Yes.
Hunts Point.
Wasn't
in the
New
Bronx.
York City
back
like a
in
dangerous
the boogie
place?
down Bronx.
Excuse
back
me?
in early 70s all the way to like the 90s. New York
For me,
New York
for
City
me
was
or
a
for
dangerous place.
A dangerous
I feel like
place?
a lot of places
Yeah.
were dangerous in the 70s.
Oh,
Wasn't there like a lot of murders going on in the 70s?
Yeah, Marcos Cook is confused.
Probably. I mean, I wasn't born back in the 70s, but I'm pretty sure that, like, I'm pretty sure that happened a lot. And again, when you have crime running rampant,
people rubbing against each other, rubbing against their nerves.
That's your fantasy, Marcos.
No, people get angry. Hands start getting caught, and they become rated E for everyone.
like Bruce Banner angry? Like,
No, like Rumble
hold
in
on.
the Bronx, kind of angry.
Okay,
The
I see
Boogie
where
Down
you're coming
Bronx?
from. Yeah. Okay, so like to Marcos's point and reference of Jackie Chan's movie Rumble in the Bronx. Yeah, there was a lot of gang affiliations and situations going on out there. But I mean, there was more of a sense of community back then, I think, than there is
There's
even
also
now.
Jackie Chan back in the day.
Well, more so like as part of your block or your
squad.
hood or your neighborhood that you lived and grew up in. There was a
You
sense
rolled up.
there was a sense of community there that isn't
Us
very.
versus the world. Us versus the other squads. That's known as a gang. You know.
Yeah,
I'm just being
to a certain
facetious.
extent. But I think what Eileen's is I guess leading us to is that
Yeah,
there was a
Eileen.
lot of crime going on back then, and I would agree. I would agree. There was probably a lot more crime going on there, but I think that the type of crime was very different from the crime that goes on, I guess, what we see nowadays, right?
A lady getting arrested for selling Kimitsu no Yaiba cakes. Dang it. What kind
Okay,
of world
but-
are we in?
But sticking more like northeast in
Okay.
the United States,
Okay, sorry.
you're going international.
We live in this society,
No, don't do that here.
not in
better
this
than them.
household.
Well, I'm just saying, stick to your own talking points.
Yeah, but yeah, imagine
Imagine a plane.
the booming business of
No, Marco. Imagine a
of
plane.
having sexy time phone calls. Like it's gone now. I think
Imagine a plane.
it now becomes into OnlyFans accounts.
Imagine an air jet.
No, you go for. Oh yeah, okay. Wait. Is this segue?
Yes.
It's a segue. Continue.
Imagine an air jet that make countries panic. Go on.
So, what Mr. J is trying to say is that right now, as of again 2021, 2022, late and early of this year, there's been confirmed that I'm not gonna. If you want to see again, this is another worm. Going down the videos of watching videos, and I do some research again. This one I found it more friendly in the sense that
No, it didn't.
it isn't. It
No.
isn't. It is
No.
technically. So
No.
a company got hired by the U.S. Military to properly create models or hardware that can convert basically carbon dioxide from the air and convert it into fuel for current existing air jets, specifically air jets, and anything that pulls in with turbofans, all those things, jet wise, not helicopter, maybe even some helicopters, not all helicopters, and convert it into fuel and not have to retrofit the jet engine that's already on the airplane, and eventually also not change out the gasoline tanks to just be restocked with the plane flying on its own.
So Power Rangers.
No, basically it's industrialized. What's the word that plants do? What's that word?
Photosynthesis.
Yeah,
Photosynthesis?
industrialized photosynthesis. But right now, this company has been proven running this experiment since early 2015. On the way before, but the company came to life in early to late 2015, and has been pulling the data and has found the restrictions that they can more or less create a specific. You don't see me, but I'm doing like over here talking with my hands as well. That they can create models, designs that can be incorporated specifically into jets right now, and they can still perform their duties.
The jets into planes.
Yeah, right. The jets and perform their duties, their military duties, and whatever they do, and suck up the carbon dioxide that's in the air right now. Me doing my, liking to analyze all those things. Right now, I kind of agree that it only should be the military, because the rate that the military use those airplanes is so high that if everyone else, if they trickle down this technology, they're more or less going to run out of carbon dioxide in a very short time, versus just the military sucking up the carbon dioxide that everyone else produces. You know what I'm saying? Like, they're, in the sense, I agree that only the military for now. I feel like there should be improvements. More or less, they're going to be cleaning the air the more they use their military jets.
I think that's really cool.
That's just from the US. A second design from China, ironically, is that they're trying to produce a new kind of engine that has a thrust to weight ratio. An example, they proved it with with college students and all those things, that the thrust nozzle of the engine was only 40 millimeters in diameter. And they were able to make a micro scale of it, and was able to give thrust to an object that was 1 kilogram in weight. So more or less, the flow that this model engine produced was strong enough to give lift to an object that weighed a lot more than the diameter of the body. So in theory, this could have a different kind of engine on its own, just on China. They're not saying it's for the military. They're just saying it's a motor, a totally different engine for thrust, for commercial aircrafts, for anything else. But that on its own, for me, material science guy over here in engineering, say the tech for aircraft engines is right there. They more or less can control hot magma with engines right now with the current technology. But I don't know the potential. It's too uncertain to build a new engine right now with China, but more power to them. If there's funding, they're gonna, fix those issues. Versus the US company that's already producing models specifically for running aircraft that are right now and only for the military. My gripe here is that if everyone can do it
for the military,
that's the bad part. And I can agree and disagree. I'm on both sides. I don't want to be offensive, but I can see, wink wink, nudge nudge, the blind guy over here can see why only the military would gatekeep this technology, so that their pollution resource, if you will, or their resources for fuel doesn't end, because they're currently cleaning the environment. They're going to want to clean the environment with the pollution that public transport cars are making right now. That's me over here. That's my TED Talk. Thoughts, everyone? Eileen, Mr. J, Alan?
I like the idea that they are trying to do something about the fact, about pollution and stuff, and it's a way to start small and build it up from there. So, I mean, I like that they're being more conscious now.
And I like trains.
The bad part is that it's being gate-kept or maybe monitored properly with the military. And unfortunately...
Well, is it really gatekeeping though?
I'm simplifying. Maybe not. Maybe yes.
I think it's more like it's the wrong word.
Yeah.
It's more like it's being tested. by the military. It's being
kinks
seen
are
as
being
useful
worked.
by the military. Well, I
First
don't
is
think it's like. Well, I
job
don't think it's
security.
more of a caution of it being used in the public, like for safety reasons. More like this is their advancement, and they don't want to share this.
like a
Right now, even though
copyright.
they are sharing it too. No, it's more like it's theirs.
They hired the company.
It's more or less like this is something they want to keep private too. And like, we're not required to know everything about the military. They have projects that are the hush hush.
And this is something
talk
green
about,
though. And then that's not the main
yeah,
goal.
but we don't know if it. But they don't know if it works to what they say it does. They're still in the testing phase.
Yeah. And the bad part is that it's making the environment or cleaning out the carbon dioxide isn't even from the environment isn't their main objective. It's a side effect. Their main goal is just to continue with their fuel because they know that there's a finite amount of fuel.
Is that really like a negative part of it?
No, it's just a happy side effect. And I
Well,
can't,
more or less,
complain.
it's just a result of, they see that they have a large sum of this, and they're like, this will be useful. We can use this as a source of energy.
And the military didn't invest on it. The thing is, this company.
They're not worried about the environmental effects of the world. I mean, we all know that the military doesn't really care about the environment all that much.
True.
But they're not looking at it as like, well, help the environment. They're like, okay, what do we have a lot of that we can use? Carbon dioxide. How can we,
Imagine the
how
sales
we can make
pitch.
it useful? Well, like that would be the sales pitch, but they have to realize that how do we make it useful is the hardest part. It's like, how do we use carbon dioxide and what we need in our applications?
According to the video and then later research, the quote that I found interesting, they said this company was making everything using carbon dioxide to make everything except diamonds. I'm like, but diamonds, you can make money out of that. That's not the goal here. The goal here is to make, in a budgetary sense, to be able to produce more or less to stay employed. Who do we go with that always eats a lot of fuel? Or not even fuel, just that can give us a solid job. The U.S. military, and the way that this person pitched it, according to the video, is that the Air Force bookkeeper, if you will, in 2020, they have the records here for the public. Is that he put on the side an estimate for fuel over $88 trillion in fuel. Just an $8 billion in fuel just for 1 year for the US, one fiscal year. They're like, hey guys, we can save you fuel, we can save you money. Oh, and the side effect, it cleans the environment. I find it kind of a little bit cynical, or I'm being cynical. I don't know how.
Yes.
But I think I'm being cynical here. But it's that, hey, you don't have to spend a lot of money here, but you're cleaning the environment. That's just a happy side effect. And everyone's happy.
Here's another thing. Did they even mention that when they pitched it to the
I wasn't in the meeting. Me being cynical over it, that's why.
Because like that could have been something in the video to kind of incite that people that the military, they're doing this for the environment, but in reality, they're just doing it for their personal gain.
To continue on with operations without spending a lot of money in the fuel.
Yeah, because money don't grow on trees.
And they don't talk Vietnamese, Mr. J.
I don't know how does that concern us.
You said that, the Lorax spoke for the tree.
Okay.
I rest my case.
He's like, I rest my case. But yeah.
Thoughts, everyone? Alan?
I don't know, bro. Like, to me, I listened to the conversation everyone's having, and it just seems to me it's like when JP Morgan figured or found out that he wasn't able to make money with Tesla's invention of having electricity for everyone around the world or what have you. with his invention. He said, I can't put a meter on it. I can't charge people. I can't make money. So for that reason, I'm out. And I to a certain extent, I think that people, maybe more so in the government, than...
Oh, you mean original Tesla, like back in the day, not like the company Tesla.
Right, not Elon Musk Tesla. I'm talking about like what's my
JP
man's
Morgan
name?
with the shoot.
Yeah, JP Morgan was
Or Thomas
supposedly...
Edison.
No,
Was it JP Morgan?
Yeah, the one that was funding what's my man's name?
Thomas Edison.
No.
Tesla.
Yeah, but his full
Nikolai?
name. Nikolai Tesla. After his falling out with Thomas Edison, he sought to get funding from someone else so he can continue his research and inventions. And in a later part of his life, he was able to get funding by JP Morgan. And what happened was that he wasn't able to JP Morgan wasn't able to put a meter on the invention that Nikolai had invented.
to perceive value,
No, to charge people, not to perceive anything.
to pull out money of it, to get money from this.
So Nikolai Tesla was able to harness energy to the extent of that everyone around the world, or everyone that was able to get a hold of the technology, would be able to harness energy and use it, at their own liberty, and it wouldn't cost them a thing because it was something that they had readily available to them with Tesla technology. But once JP Morgan found out that he wouldn't be able to charge people for it, there was no incentive for him left to keep funding Nikolai Tesla's invention or anything for that matter on his behalf. So he basically backed out, and Nikolai was left with basically
The expenses.
Yeah, he had whatever he
jobless.
had. He became jobless, and it was horrible because, and the reason I bring up JP Morgan is because, to a certain extent, back in the day, JP Morgan was before the federal, the Fed basically.
It would loan to the money to the government even.
Well, there was no centralized bank back in the day, so in a couple of instances, the country kind of went bankrupt, and the only person that had enough money to actually kickstart or restart the actual financial or the financial market in what was still a very young nation was JP Morgan.
That's crazy though.
One man was able to, or had not only the power, the insight, the tenacity, but the money to actually fund,
Believe in the country.
no, fund financially, make the country financially solvent, so it wouldn't go bankrupt. And that just speaks volumes to the person who was JP Morgan. But after certain times of him doing that, the government kind of said, you know what, we can't let him, or I think historically speaking, JP Morgan kind of went to the government and said, listen guys, I can't keep doing this. You won't have me forever. You guys have to do something in order for this not to happen.
Listen here, Sam. Imagine.
Oh, well, I can only imagine the type of convo or the type of vocabulary he
You're
used.
everyone's uncle, but you're not my uncle, okay, Sam?
So, and going back towards Nikolai Tesla, well, he was left high and dry with no money, no funds, and basically the technology that would have probably propelled the world to being electrically, in
A different path. Different path.
Yeah. People would have had the technology.
Would have developed more. Question. Here, quick brainstorm.
Being energy independent. There you go. That's the word.
Quick brainstorm. How would you have done the sales pitch to JP Morgan if you were Tesla? The OG Tesla. Let's see.
Well, that wouldn't have worked because his whole idea was predicated on him being able to do this without being able to charge people, because that was his whole idea. It was to better the situation, not monetarily gain anything from it to a certain degree.
But how would you spin it so that you can get the patronage, the money to continue the development? And then eventually, like, oh, your side effect is you're not going to be able to charge people for this, but you're going to be able to use the system as your basis for everyone to have energy and all those things to be able to work for you and stuff. You know what I'm trying to say? Like, let's say the internet. The internet is decentralized, right? With different nodes. Nobody in theory can shut down the internet unless, everything is shut down completely at the same time.
I think that's a great question. Maybe for another podcast.
Like a sales pitch, how would you sales pitch the Tesla idea to the money bags?
I get what you're saying, but I think that would be better for another podcast, just because we would probably go down a rabbit hole where are we gonna all pitch an idea to JP Morgan? Like, I think that would be unwise use of our time right now.
You just made me think.
Have more bullet points for the
yes,
podcast.
Please. And yeah, so back to reality.
Yeah, back to the original point, where when I'm listening to you guys having this conversation, I'm thinking along the lines of what would happen to that. Like, people want to basically financially gain from an idea, or from using materials that are essentially abundant but non-usable. In this case, it's being reused, right? Reduce, reuse, and recycle to a certain degree, right?
And you're gonna spend less, $8 billion a year. You're gonna be spending less.
Well, that's what looks good on paper, but does it really happen, right? So for the better part of for known, I guess, social projects that the government comes up with, it takes about $5 to save 50 cents sometimes.
That's not social, though. This is full of military.
Well, where do you think the military gets the funding?
Yeah, but at the same time, the social projects, this one is, if it doesn't work, we're kicking you out. Fall off as the company that they came with the pitch to the military, not the government, to the military. Yeah. I mean, I'm just here, No,
but I would argue that it's the same. It's basically the same thing.
It ought to be at least a year to see. Okay,
because where do they
more or less?
No, but at the end of the day, after they kick them out, the money is already spent, has already been used. The funds have been used, and those funds are essentially being taken out our paycheck when we pay taxes. So essentially, I see it as the same side of the coin, like same side.
Is it the exact same side of the coin?
No.
The other. Sorry.
Yeah, one side of the coin, right? Or one side of the coin.
Something with the coin. It was tossed.
Right, one side of the coin. But essentially, what I'm getting at is that at the end of the day, it's coming out our pockets in one way or another through taxes. And I don't see the big difference between if it's done by the military or done by
social projects. Yeah.
No, the government, essentially, which is one and the same. Now, if you were to tell me it's an independent company that's doing it with funds that they collected from other businesses or achievements they've done, then I would say
Kickstarter.
Right. Or if they had invented something before and they're using the funds from that initial project to fund their new project, then I would say, okay, that makes some sort of sense, as far as like they're putting their money where their mouth is and investing into something that they're passionate about. But a lot of the times what happens is that they try to figure out how to reallocate money that they're already making or they already have in their funds to try to solve a problem. And sometimes the solution or the remedy is worse than the actual problem.
Versus the military, if it works, they'll keep it. If it doesn't, they're gonna kick him out.
Well, again, you would think, you would hope, but sometimes that's not the fact of the matter. And I'm not trying to be
sometimes.
I'm not trying to be,
it's happened. They kicked out, like, example, weapon designing
conspiracy theorists or anything like that. But
conspiracy versus facts, though. Here they designed some guns and, like, this gun doesn't work, kick it out. or the ones developing new ammo. 3 different companies came up with ammo. One was to make it lighter, like plastic ammo, and the other one full metal ammo, and the other one like just make the powder stronger, and super simplifying it. We like everyone's design. This one's too futuristic. We have to kick it out, even if it was a plastic one. And they're like spending money just to do the research. I'm not saying that that's that it's a bad thing or a good thing to do research, but just for the fuel in itself, like somebody, I don't know what company it was, I forgot the name of it, but this company, hit it where, right in the checkbook to the military to say, hey, want to spend less on this? Invest in me. That's what I'm trying to say.
But no, I totally get where you're coming from. I'm just trying to state that, like, say, as an example, that there's certain technologies that they probably, or certain gizmos or gadgets that they're coming up with, right? Whether it be government sanctioned or private sector sanctioned or developed, and there's a actual real life use of it. Sometimes that it looks good on paper, and maybe the technology isn't quite up to date, or there's no practical use at the moment, but there might be practical use in the future. So what they might end up doing is that they put it on the back burner, keep fine-tuning it until it's ready to be used in a practical way.
But it uses money in the back there too, right?
Right. Even you still need to use some sort of funds, and they have to come from somewhere. For someone to keep fine-tuning it, you need to pay people to do that. And people, despite how people, or what we might think of people being good-willed and whatnot,
they gotta
people,
eat.
Yeah, people gotta eat. People have to take care of their families, and
they gotta pay rent.
Right. So, and that's all well and good. I don't expect anybody to not make or get to the bag, and sit pretty and doing nothing and expect to make the most money, or work their ass off and not expect to get money.
OnlyFans accounts, no.
Well, not. I don't know how that segued to that, but or how that translates to that. But more so, that's where I was thinking while you guys were conversing, where someone has to get money or receive money for something to actually, in order for something to happen, someone needs to get paid.
Even. Yeah.
Right. So that's how I'm looking at it. As far as like, the recycling aspect, or in your case,
industrializing photosynthesis, if you will.
Right. If you want to have carbon credits and stuff like that, go ahead and get some carbon credits. Right. You can. There's ETFs now that you can buy, and you can invest in carbon credits. So that's not a problem. And I'm pretty sure not only, like, before
What's a carbon credit?
So basically, companies issue like a ticket or a credit to the amount of oxygen or carbon that is reduced by a plant or something or other, and you get issued a credit because you're basically making a dent on the carbon that's being used.
Mm-hmm.
And basically, companies like airplane companies or other big companies that use a lot of or emit a lot of carbon are able to offset their carbon use by buying these credits, so they can counteract or offset their carbon use in real time. And nowadays, there's private companies that do this, and they're publicly traded, so you can buy a share of that company, and basically you're able to invest in that way, right?
But does it actually remove the carbon, or is it just like on paper?
No, you're actually doing something. Well, there's actual scientific things that go behind creating or offsetting carbon emissions. But again, I'm not an expert on this. I just know of it because
cursory research. It is carbon credit explained. Carbon credits, also known as carbon offsets or carbon offsets credits, are measurable. That's the valuable part. Measurable, verifiable emissions reductions from certified climate action projects that reduce, remove, or avoid greenhouse gases GHG emissions. A carbon credit represents the right to emit 1 metric ton of carbon dioxide. So basically, because you're investing on these projects, you can more or less, the amount of credits you have, you can more or less pollute this amount because you're paying for the project to clean up that amount, if you will.
Yeah, basically it's give and
Like
take.
your free pass card.
You're offsetting it, so that's the reason why it's called an offset, right? So you nailed it right on the head with that definition that you just read out. So basically,
The right to emit. I can't wait until people start getting ticketed for not having the right to emit.
That's the tricky part. That's the tricky part. The more, I guess you can say, government
Who's controlling this?
the more government leans towards that way, the more that's the actual word that phrase that you just mentioned, the rights will be more applicable. But if people start backpedaling, then it doesn't really matter. Like that sense of the right,
like a free pass to emit, to pollute, just because I paid for somebody that's going to clean it up. Like you're paying for your mess up ahead of time.
That's as of right now. What I'm getting at is that the right to, it's like people are pushing towards, like, you have the right to do X, Y, and Z because someone gives you permission, and that's the I guess you can say the tricky part.
Yeah,
that's the tricky part to it, because who's the one that regulates it, right? So right now people are messing around with the idea and this business model for carbon credits. And this is the only reason I know of it, because I saw it and I started researching a little bit.
My boy over here doing research.
About it.
Push up your glasses proudly.
I always do. But it's kind of like it's kind of a scary thought, because then you have to pay for you living, because you yourself emit carbon.
Me breathing.
Right.
Sorry, I'm yelling.
This is the reason why it's kind of like almost fiendish or devilish, if you will.
This could have a potential worse than the NFTs.
Right. So you basically are paying to live, and that's the scary side of this whole aspect.
To breathe.
Right. So this is the reason why I don't like it, because it's very dark in that sense, right? That you essentially would have to pay to live. And for the people that are broke, like, what's to say that the government, if they ever do get into that, and again, this is very conspiracy
theorist. Or just work to breathe over here. Yeah.
Right. It's like that Justin Timberlake movie, In Time.
Oh,
right?
You saw that one?
Yeah, absolutely.
That was a good one. Have you seen that movie, Mr. J and Elaine?
What's it called?
Of course
In
not.
Time.
In Time.
Of course not.
No.
I'll give you the premise. Hold up.
No. Just give them the link. We don't have to. We don't have to go through that, because I do want to finish up this thought. That way we can get to the next part.
Go for it.
So basically, that is the scary part, where you essentially the disturbing aspect of it, that you would have to pay to live, and that's wrong. That shouldn't be something that should be allowed or permitted, and that might be something that government at some point might want to tread it in that territory, but I hope that never happens, right? But at the same time, if on surface level, if that's where I guess the idea of what should be done right now to offset greenhouse greenhouse emissions, right?
Industrial complexes over here.
And you want to offset and you want to profit off of that situation, you might want to look into it. And if you are, savvy enough with your investments, you might want to invest in a company that does this type of has this type of business plan, and you might want to invest in these companies or a company or two that does this to profit, which is, it's a double-edged sword, because again, on one side it's pretty evil, right? Because they might get to a point where you might have to pay for you living, and then on the other side it's like, whether a politic sentiment change with whoever is the current government, they might want to switch it up and say, well, I don't think that global warming is an issue. So I don't think, offsetting carbon emissions is something that we should really focus on. It might be something else entirely. So it really is dictated by who's
It's always
in power.
something, isn't it?
Right, but again, this is the reason why I looked into it, because it sounded interesting and I thought that it might be something that could be useful for further information use, not only in my life, but people that I know that are willing to listen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's what I thought about when you guys were talking about this whole situation.
But that one and some our projects like tokens. This reminds me a lot of the thing with the churches back in the day. What was that thing with the thing that, forgive my sins, here, let me pay for this pass? What was that?
Oh, you mean when confession, you mean?
Back in the day with Martin Luther and all those things, putting those 91 or 99 like ideology differences compared to the church. I don't want people to pay for their pardons, back in the day that they would pay to get pardoned for their sins.
Well, that was more of a doctrinal type of differences that they had between the Roman Catholic Church and the Protestant Church, or what would become the Protestant Church. Oh, but that's a whole other can of worms, Marquitos.
No, just the idea of giving like a ticket, a ticket to pardon my offenses, versus over here, pardon me for breathing. Let me pay for that.
That's quite a bit of a reach, but I see where you're going with it.
Obviously they're not the same. Obviously, it's just if everyone breathes, they pay taxes. I'm like, dang. Versus the other one, if you don't have to believe in the same
troubling.
church.
That's troubling. Yeah, the breathing and paying for living, that's a problem.
But yeah, hopefully, me fingers crossed over here. Hopefully this company isn't just blowing smoke up the militaries, versus them actually working it out. Fingers crossed.
Right.
Now, from engines all the way to Mr. J stories. Please go on, Mr. J.
Marcos didn't take his meds.
Proceed, yes. Continue. Continue with this statement.
And he's going crazy.
Yes.
That is all.
Oh, you dropped your mic. You need to pick it up. You're not done with your story.
Oh yeah, my stories. Forgot. So imagine this.
Yes.
Marcos, right?
Yeah.
And
it's always me. Why? Why do you have this obsession with me? What did I do?
Because
I'm imagining it. Hurry up.
So imagine this, Marcos, right?
Eileen, hurry him up.
He's sitting down, right, in his room. And he's like, let me look up my favorite thing in the world. Dojins. Just
I knew it.
Yes. You're just stating facts here.
and then he goes,
Ara.
right? he's down there, he's down deep in the webs of dojins, but then he notices that his Wi-Fi is kind of congested from all the tabs he's opened up.
Oh my.
Now, is there a solution for this? Yes, he can close his tabs.
I would never close these tabs.
That's the problem. But with
It's like picking my favorite child.
with great power comes great internet. Marcos, I think you're too hyped for this. He's like, he heard that he can have more Dojin tabs at once.
Giggity.
But yeah, so
Hey, yo.
to bring it back to reality a little bit, routers, right? Everybody's got them at this point, right? Like, I'm pretty sure
Routers be rowdy.
Alan has it. Marcos definitely have it. I have one.
I at least
Eileen,
have two.
do you have one?
I don't know. I'm just spitting.
Oh, Eileen,
stuff
do you have one?
Have one what?
A router. Don't worry about what Marcos says. He's not on his bills. What were you saying?
I should have one.
You should. You should go check.
I'm pretty sure I do.
Go check if you have one.
Is your router running?
It's your router running.
Well, you go pick it up then.
But anyway,
Better go catch it.
Marcos, please calm down there.
Huh?
Exactly. So basically every router has I guess you could say like a cap of sorts. They have these like ratings for how strong. Marcos, I command you to stop and go to your corner.
You saved me. Why?
Monkey.
But anyway, every router has like, I guess you could say like a threshold of how much data they can send out devices at once, and typically they number them by like Wi-Fi 1, 2, 3, whatever. The newest generation, which is 6 and 6E. 6 has been around for a little bit of while, but the one I want to focus on is 6E. So for a while now, with the introduction of Wi-Fi 6, they have the two different, I guess you call them bands. I don't know if you ever remembered getting a Wi-Fi and then you set it up and then you see you have two internet connections. You have a 2.4, and a 5 named Wi-Fi things, right? And that when you want to connect to
5, and 5G and 2.4 something G.
Listen here, buddy. I'm gonna get over there, beat you. No, I'm kidding. So yeah. So these two channels were made so that you wouldn't have so much congestion in one router. Basically, you have different channels which allowed multiple streams of data to be processed at once. Now, I've heard of the good old name of bandwidth. Marcos, I believe you have, because you've been whipped by the bandwidth.
Yeah.
Extra thick.
And to break it down a little bit, bandwidth is basically how much data can you send out at a certain amount of within a certain amount of time.
Sounds like a lot like flow. Water flow.
Flow indeed. Typically your bandwidth is restricted by your ISP, typically by how much you give them, how much money you give them. You give them $20, it might give you 10. And also as you referred to, the rate is the amount of bits per second. So if you typically nowadays they go for like 100 megabits per second, or if you're in Marcos' case, he has 1 gigabit per second speeds.
Not enough.
He's like never enough for his dozens. And like I said, that's restricted. That's basically saying that's the amount of bits per second. And they break it down even more. You have your prefix, your unit that you're using, and then your time. So that's basically what bandwidth is. Now, with 6E, what they're trying to introduce is another big, guess you could say frequency, or another channel that they're trying to introduce. You had 2.4, then 5, and now they're what you're introducing as 6. And over here in the article by good old PC Mag, they're saying that what Wi-Fi 6E brings with 6 gigahertz is a more congested spectrum, wider channels, less interference, gigabit speeds, extremely low latency, and high capacity, which is what everyone wants. If you're in some situations you have a big family and everybody's on their phone looking at the YouTube, looking at the TikTok, maybe someone's playing Call of Duty in the background, you would want something that can handle such a high load. And what they're trying to solve it with is this new 6 gigahertz channel. And what it does is it adds another set of channels so that you have these improvements. So they say, what is a simplest reason that you'll want Wi-Fi 6E? It allows internet speeds of greater than 1 gigabit. And then they'll have, which means they'll increase spectrum for lower latency. What else? Basically meaning that you will be able to do more stuff at once. And that's great for, especially nowadays, everybody is online. We're starting to get back, but mostly we're kind of back and forth with being online and offline. And then of course, if you're over here, like me, PC Master Race with the online games, this means that Marcos, I'm gonna have to beat you. No, I'm kidding.
All these squares make a circle. All these squares make a circle.
So that basically what I'm trying to say is it allows you to do more things at once. Since nowadays everyone is online, you would want something to be able to handle so much things at once.
Who wants to handle so many things at once?
Marcos. That was my response. Basically. So yeah. So now the question is how do you get your hands, your grimy little hands if you're Marcos, but if you're most people, you hopefully clean them, hands on this new technology. Well, if you're wealthy enough, you can go out and buy them. Typically nowadays, Wi-Fi 6E routers can range from about average about $500.
But Josue, sorry, real quick, but I'm sorry to cut you off. But are they comparable, or like, better question, are they up to spec as far as like what the technology is supposed to be to get the most out of that Wi-Fi 6? Or is it still like
routers?
Or is it still on the first iteration type of thing where you're only getting like, remember when
the sixth iteration, if anything?
No. As far, you remember when we would have 4G on our phones, even though it didn't really give you 4G connectivity back in the day.
4G though. That's the fourth generation.
No, but what I'm saying is that the same premise as far as like they're telling you it's one thing, but you're not getting the full effect of what they're saying, or the full, experience,
like coverage, if you will, like with the antennas.
Right. Or is it different in that sense where they're actually giving you what they're saying that they're going to give you?
So here's the lowdown breakdown of it. You have to take in consider. So the easiest thing to do is to first get the router that has this Wi-Fi 6E capabilities.
Okay.
Start number one. Next, you would have to have a device that would be fully capable of handling these new speeds, basically. And so that means that if you have a phone, for example, that's at the very least maybe even 3 years old,
so not my
you're
Note
not
9.
gonna get the full capacity of what they're advertising here, because your phone is just not up to spec. Now, if you're the other case where you do have a fairly new phone, like for example, maybe not an iPhone, but maybe they have the example of the S21 Ultra, which does have 6E capabilities. You would get all of those.
That's your base.
At least for speeds wise, you will get all the capabilities they're asking for. Now, where it can come into play for any device can use it is how many devices are using it at once.
How much internet?
That's all depending on how the router handles it, not so much your device. So if you do have, number one, like I said, if you have good
the internet bandwidth
from your ISP, and then you have the router, you should feel the benefits of having multiple devices connected to this one router at once, and you don't feel like that's huge lag behind it that you would usually do in some other routers.
Jesus, dang. So just to start with, you have to be at a right now at a pretty high like bill, because you're gonna have to pay
to get the full capabilities. Yes, you would have to have
right now
right now the latest and greatest to feel the full effects of it. But if you want to feel like I said, you not having such low, like for example, high buffering speeds on your phone, then it should be fine if you just get the router and then have those multiple devices, because the big thing that they're advertising here is that you can have all of these devices connected at once, and you should not feel the effect of, since this one is doing that I will start lagging. Now, of course, there is a set limit to this, but it's much higher than the previous generation was.
Yeah, the current generation. Question. Now, what's the difference here, just in a technical sense? Like, I remember there being some routers, like I was doing some research in my day for a new router, and I found that some routers, instead of having just 2 bandwidths, the 2.4 and the 5, they had three bandwidths of 2.4 and 2 5Gs paths just for a modern day household, so that people could specifically dedicate laptops to the secondary one, or their gaming computer on the secondary 5G, and leave the first 5G for this, for everyone else, for your phone, all those things. What's the difference in that sense versus having Wi-Fi 6E? What's the difference of having 3 bands versus a single 6E?
It's what I said before. That wouldn't really matter.
It's just
because the whole capacity of this new 6 gigahertz spectrum is that with just this bigger. It's able to handle such high loads, like I said before. And one of the things he also mentioned is that they won't suffer greater interference, like from because walls,
it's new,
and like from different floors and all that stuff. That's what they're trying to cater to, having that high load situation. Maybe you're in a house that has dense walls that you can't hear anything out of.
Soundproof walls, man. Soundproof walls.
Well, not just soundproof, like, dense walls, like
concrete.
Things that are made of like concrete, brick. We know that if you have one of those houses, it's going to be hard to have good Wi-Fi all around, because your walls, typically
their walls are too thick.
Numb it out, or just have an interference to have a weaker signal. So they're hoping that with this new technology we can kind of surpass that a little bit more than how we used to have it now.
To answer also Alan's question, it's an incremental increase from the last generation, but yeah, it is a significant increase. But as you heard, it's a high price to pay just to get there. If you already made an investment previously on the current latest generation.
Here's the last thing that they mentioned is, should you go out and buy this $500 Wi-Fi router? And the answer to them is no, because they just started hitting the market. And mind you, this article was made around October of last year. So it's still pretty new, because there's the routers still have the same price.
Bugs need to be fixed.
That it's just that it's too new of technology, and the prices are just way too much for what a Wi-Fi 6 router can do. They say that while the benefits of having this Wi-Fi 6E is great, the price is just for most people, it's just too much. So instead, you can still live with the Wi-Fi 6. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just that, if you really want to future-proof it, 6E is the way to go.
That's a sad, well, not a sad part. It's just it's a sustaining market that if you want to have in technology, you want to have the latest and greatest. It's never forever or for long going to be the latest and greatest. There's always going to be something else. Like my phone, my Note 9. A Galaxy Note 9, rest in peace, the Note series. Back in the day, it was the latest and greatest. Next year, oh yeah, we got the Note 10. Hey.
Wait, that's gonna be a great that would have been a great segue to one of my points. But I find it interesting that Josue mentions it, upgrading is really up to obviously the person that wants to upgrade, and well, you'll see some significant increment of better connectivity. because right now, well, not right now, but when I was looking for, the last Amazon Prime Day that occurred
A while ago, yeah.
right. So I'm looking at the mesh systems, and a lot of them claim that they would be able to connect and handle the output of the new Wi-Fi 6, and it was interesting to me because I didn't quite understand. Oh, is that something that I should be?
Yeah.
It's like, is that something I should be, aware of, or is that something important that affects me if I were to buy a newer mesh system, that has that type of connectivity, or the hardware to be able to use the Wi-Fi 6, and like I'm glad that Jose brought it up, because now I know that if you don't really need it, because not every one of your devices probably is capable of using the actual output or the Wi-Fi 6, like that makes like a whole lot of sense now, that I don't need to upgrade everything just because you can doesn't mean you should.
And vice versa, there's another story. This kind of market also reminds me of the headphone market or the audiophile market. That
What?
if you
Wait,
let me just explain my
hold
reasoning.
up. Let's hold up. Wait a minute.
And he's muted. He believed me, guys. He's not muted.
Exactly. No, but how does this benefit from internet to headphones?
Let me explain then. I have a story for you. So allegedly,
And he's muted.
yeah, right. The story is that to experience the best audio that you with your own money can afford, everything from the audio interface, from the cabling, from the headphones, has to be top dollar, or the amount that you can afford. So at the end of the day, it's a hobby. It's a very expensive hobby, or a very expensive business for some people that can potentially be lucrative. But in the sense that you have to be up there just to be, people that have, fine years to experience those, to feel those, to hear those fine details. I think I'm not that first, I'm not that rich, and I'm not that, experienced with audio, in the sense that I can hear the difference between a copper wire versus a silver wire, or a monster cable, or stuff like that. Unfortunately, one, it's not my niche, my hobby, but at the same time, it's an expensive one that I can't afford myself. That's what I'm saying, that a lot of people could be thinking about it that way. Why am I going to be buying a latest and greatest router if my hardware that uses Wi-Fi can't even handle that kind of network? It'll handle it in the sense that it'll go 2.4 and 5G, but that 6G, let's call it here in the group, won't even be tapped. I'm paying it and paying for the router and not using it. But hey, in a year from now, I might buy, that Samsung phone that they said, oh, now my phone can use it. But who's gonna think about it that way? I mean, life goes on, and by the end of the day, there could have been a cheaper model that also handles 6G in like 2 months from you buying your phone, and I could have upgraded then. That was cheaper than my current router. But we don't know the future. It's just that I feel like Wi-Fi now is more important than yes.
I'm sorry, Marcos, to interrupt you, but what then is the difference between Wi-Fi 6 and 6G? Is there a difference between these two?
6E, Mr. J.
Wi-Fi 6E basically, like I said, it allows you to have that bigger. I use the analogy of like a road.
Okay,
basically
like
the road is
bigger
where
broadband, basically.
Not just a bigger broadband, it allows
Extra thick!
what?
Exactly.
It allows basically more channels to be added, and those channels is, like I said, allows you to put out more data stream, which then in a sense allows you to have more devices connected at once without having that huge.
Hey.
There we go.
Yes. Can you guys hear me?
Okay.
Hello.
We hear you perfectly. Is there any lag?
Hello. Who's here?
Jesus, Mr. J,
Everybody.
Elaine, and Alan.
Me.
Woohoo! The whole clan.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
The whole clan.
Oh, I was starting to sweat over here. What? Well, I'm in the wrong meeting.
Oh no.
Oh,
So in that case, should I start on my next one?
Wait.
Hold up.
You didn't
Just
answer
finish,
the.
just-
Oh, I didn't
Just
answer
finish.
what I said.
Yeah.
6G, the 6G. You finished the 6E.
Oh, the 6E?
Yeah, you finished the Wi-Fi 6. But then would it make sense to use 6G with 6E in tandem, or are they two
Oh
separate
no.
things?
6E is the, I guess you could say, the new protocol that has 6G. So yeah,
Oh,
like I said,
see, I see.
remember how your router would have like the name of the router 2.4 and then 5.
Right.
So then they have another one that they call 6, and that's the thing that they're pitching that allows, you know, more people to be connected at once. You have higher speeds on the Wi-Fi, and that you won't have such a big hit to your internet speed when you have like multiple devices connected at one router.
Okay. That
The
makes
6,
sense. All right.
The Wi-Fi 6 still works with the whole 2.4 and 5, and in some cases they have
That
them
answers my
combined.
question too. Okay.
So basically, you can use the other ones. It doesn't necessarily cut you off from like
Right.
older
I thought it did.
iteration generations.
It answers your question.
That's why I said that like you
don't need to upgrade.
You can still use it with even older devices, because their key thing is that you can have multiple devices connected at once and you won't take a big hit to your internet speed. The only catch is that you won't have the full speeds. Like say if you're in Marco's case that does have gigabit speeds, if you have your your device that has, you know,
My
everything
Note
up to
9.
date. No, not your Note 9.
Yeah, it's not.
It's not updated. If you have, like, for example, they use the Galaxy S21 Ultra. If you
Hashtag
have
not
those new
sponsored.
devices, you will feel the full speed of it. But if you don't, you'll be capped at, I think, Wi-Fi 6 is like 800.
And we always
think
want to
something
stop
like
the
that.
cap over here.
So basically, it's backwards compatible, but it doesn't necessarily get you to that speed. So
Right.
you're
Because you
able
don't
to
have the
use
hardware.
it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
Now, yeah, so my next topic is a little bit more complicated. It's computer vision, basically. What it is and why is it
Okay.
useful. As simple as it sounds, that allows computers to see. At least that's the simple version. The actual version, according to IBM, is a field of artificial intelligence that enables computers and systems to derive meaningful information from digital images, videos, or other visual inputs, and take action or make recommendations based on that information. So, what that means is that, sounds cool, right? That basically a computer can take a visual input such as a camera, or even like, I guess you say, like certain sonar devices as well, but mainly cameras, and like kind of, I guess you say, quantify what the image is. The easiest thing that I can give the example of is you take your phone, right? If you if you take your phone, right? If you have Apple or Android, for I think all of them, they have facial recognition where after you've taken a certain amount of pictures, your phone will start to recognize like, oh, this person, that person. They won't know them by name until you give them a name, but they'll be like, we've seen this person a lot in your camera roll, and this person has to be important to you because you have an enormous amount of pictures of this person.
An unhealthy amount of pictures.
You know, a healthy. You know, if you have a picture of yourself, be like, it's gonna be kind of narcissistic here. But that's exactly what like a great example of computer vision is it kind of makes sense of the images you give it to the computer. Some things I have here is that computer vision is used in industries ranging from energy and utilities to manufacturing and automotive. And the market is continuing to grow. It's expected to reach a solid $48.6 billion by 2022. So this year, because this was like, I think, published last year. So it's a growing market, just because like making, I guess, data from a set of images is incredibly important, because you can, the famous expression goes, a thousand words can come from an image or a picture. I might have phrased it wrong, and it's true. It is actually true. You can get a lot of information just from one picture, and then an exponential amount just from a group. Now, how it works, a lot of math. Basically, it requires a lot of data to run. And if you have this X amount of data, you can recognize image and label them correctly. Two forms of popular use of CV, as I like to call it, is deep learning and CNN. Not
the news network?
Not the news station.
Oh.
CNN stands for, I think I mentioned it before, convolutional neural networks.
Bless you.
Huh? What'd you say? You said
Bless
something?
you.
Okay. Deep learning is what is used, and it's an example I like to use, what is used in Tesla cars. I'm pretty sure everyone's heard of Tesla cars, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Who just beeped?
Don't you worry.
Not me.
She's like, oh.
It was Monse in her Tesla car.
Oh no.
Beep beep. Beep beep.
Oh yeah, Monse, you guys know about Tesla cars, right?
Yes.
They're smart.
Yeah.
They're
I had to say what they do, but good enough.
Yes.
Basically, the great example, what they I didn't put it in. Dang it. One example that they say is like two different types of machine learning is supervised learning and unsupervised learning. Supervised learning is kind of like you're guiding the computer to a certain point, versus you have a point set to the computer, but you don't tell them the way. They have to learn it on their own. So like for Tesla cars, typically is that they say the more cars that are out there driving on the road, the smarter every car is gonna get.
Specifically Teslas, though, right?
Yeah, specifically Teslas, because every Tesla car is monitoring and recording every little detail that it does as it drives on the road. So like if there's like a bump on the road, it remembers that. Maybe if there's like the left turn that was there on Google Maps is no longer there anymore, it remembers that. Or if
it's not
traffic patterns is like, at certain times of day traffic is heavy, and at some other times it's very low. You don't have to worry about other cars being on the road. So
but now how will it work, like when how they're constantly changing? I mean, sometimes Google Maps doesn't always show you like a quick updated version, you know what I mean?
It generally does, but
that's machine learning. No, that's based off what the computer.
But that's different from saying that.
That's a single case.
But that's different from LiDAR as well, right? From what other manufacturers.
That's the hardware, yeah.
Yeah, because Google is heavy into LiDAR, and I've known that Elon Musk has been moving away from LiDAR, saying that it's not worth investing in that type of equipment into the actual cars, because he basically sums it up. You guys don't use any type of LiDAR detectors to walk around and move and do your thing. You just use your visual sense. And that's what he's basically pushing forward for basically
for his cars, for the
cameras to do the bulk of the work. Where Google wants to do the LiDAR. Sorry, go ahead.
No. Like I said before, if you're given an image, right, you'll see what's in the image. You can see that there's a person here, a car over here, few trees. You see how wide the road is, versus like a LiDAR is, what was it? It was like, it doesn't measure, it only measures a certain amount of things, versus image can give you just a whole cluster of things.
Now the software will filter that out eventually. That's what
Right.
they're working on.
Right, but I mean, it's you know, in this case, like I said, having that huge amount of data is perfect for machine learning capabilities. But now, CV, the concept I want to focus on is just computer vision, because computer vision, like I said, is very popular. Having a camera that's able to tell you that this person has passed by this camera is great, because you know, if you want to get sneaky about it, people like in FBI can use that, be like, okay, well, we saw that this person was spotted here because the camera that was there sent a signal back and said that it spotted this person here. Now, the only problem that arises is how accurate is this this machine. The thing about with machine learning models is that we don't have to be 100% accurate, because that's basically impossible to get. It's the whole concept of like a limit in math, where you can get oh so close to what you want to reach, but you'll never reach it no matter how much further you go.
You're chasing that dragon.
That's kind of what how a machine learns, is that it can get oh so close, up to like the nanometer of accuracy, or the nano percent of accuracy, but it never gets to 100%. It can get to like 99.9 repeating, but never 100%. Actually, I've never seen a model of 99.
What's your highest
99
model
accuracy
that you've
a running model that I've seen that's accurate, 80. This is what
a B
I usually see, basically.
A B.
But hey, B can get you places. but that's the thing I'm saying, is that like
go to college.
Exactly. But like that's what I'm saying, is like that's where the problem lies, is that we cannot be 100% accurate, and in that case, repetition of data can happen, where you know, the easiest example I can say is like, not such as like understanding, but like of how big the consequence is that you mistake your pet, for example, like a dog. It says that it's a corgi, but in reality it's a Shiba Inu. Yeah. Now for some people be like, well, that's a really big difference, but that's kind of what I'm trying to say, is that like there can be mishaps in those situations, and that's kind of one of the bigger problems of computer vision, is that it's not accurate, and that it can be. That's why we say like the more data, the better it runs. Now
the goalpost for 100 will always keep moving forward, and we'll never reach it.
Exactly. It's not like the story of the man and the snail.
The goalpost will never stay fixed. It'll always keep moving.
Because eventually the snail will reach the man, but in this case, they will never reach the man. So computer vision is used for things like object detection, image classification, object tracking, content-based image retrieval, and so much other stuff. One other example is when you whip out your phone and you scan your QR code, right? Because nowadays, things like restaurants and maybe even like a COVID-19 testing site will be like, okay, we want you to scan this QR code and fill out the questions that you have here. Have you done this and that? Computer vision is used because you have to, like I said, identify that it's a QR code, and then find out where does that QR code go, and then send it to the person, be like, this is where it goes. Another example is, what was it? Face ID. I almost forgot what it's called. Your phone takes multiple pictures when it quote unquote scans your face, and it remembers how you look, even though no matter how roughed up you can get, or maybe you got like a few scratches here and there, it will remember the shape of your face. It and be like, this is the guy who owns me.
That's pretty
Close enough.
Or close enough. Basically.
That's scary.
Can you scan a picture with the Face ID and lock it with the life size, like a 1-to-1 scale picture model of the person to see if you can hack someone?
Because if you do a 1-to-1, you can't do that because you mean like a cardboard cutout
or a paper picture that's the size of the head of the person.
No, because it remembers the whole shape of your head,
not the 2D.
No, that's why I say it takes multiple pictures. It remembers the shape of your face. I know what you're saying because that was a problem in the beginning, but then Apple corrected it to where it remembers the whole shape of it. Yeah, that was an issue in the beginning. I don't think it rolled out in public though, or maybe it did. No, I think it did when it first came out. And then they quickly are like, okay, yeah, let's fix it, and they fix it to where it remembers your whole structure of your face, not just who this person is.
That's crazy. That can make a 3D cardboard
or a mask. Just a mask.
Can you? I don't know. I don't think people went that far. Because they also
Mythbusters.
Guys, if anybody tries this, let us know.
Because like if you do like say you try to get as close to how you are in real life, like your skin color, your
volume,
facial structure.
Like, isn't that what like actors do? Like people that do like really nice makeup.
Oh, that kind of make like a cosplay.
You know what I mean? Like you know how you change when you do makeup? Like
right, but like there are certain things that don't change. Like your facial structure will not change. It's like you have like a wide. No, but it has to be like a really big difference. Like you have a really wide face, and now all of a sudden you have a really skinny face.
Have you seen these things?
Yeah, but like things like you can like some things are gonna be the same, and they have to rely on stuff like that.
Eileen, like please enlighten him. Enlighten him.
What do you mean?
Gone?
Like
she's like, what? She like plastic surgery?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like, what if they do get plastic surgery?
Well, yeah, but if you do that, then you have to change it.
You can. Like you can make a new Face ID.
Like yeah, you would have to change it because if you make such a big dramatic change to your face, then you would have to change your Face ID.
Wow,
that's crazy. I'm gonna try it, guys.
Try what?
Crazy.
Getting plastic surgery?
I'll be the guinea pig. Let's go.
So like they have like a 3D type of image of you.
It's
for Face
okay.
ID?
It's semi 3D. It's like what
like
they
the
do
first
is
front of your face.
Well, what they do is like I said, they take
It's scaring me.
You take multiple pictures of your face, right? You move it side to side, up and down, left to right, right? Mm-hmm. And then I guess like to break it down, what you do is every pixel have a pixel value, right? And what they do is they start comparing the values of how your face was structured, because at a certain point they don't change. Like it has to be something dramatic for your face to be different, because those pixel values, they do like differ like between like you could say like 5 pixels of difference. But if it's like your face went from a wide like a like a boxy almost to like a really skinny and like almost thin,
you've lost weight.
But like you have to like
you gained weight.
But like it has to be like you went from a circle to a straight up like triangle type of thing.
What are you trying to say? Are you trying to judge me now? Come on now.
What are you trying to say, that you're doing this?
I mean, I'm down to try it. Like
to lose weight,
I'm down to try this for you guys.
you went from Verb to Phineas, then yeah, obviously he's gonna like be like, okay, what's going on? You ain't the same
facial
person.
structures. In facial structures, does your Face ID also auto update every once in a while as well to keep up with these changes?
No, because that would require your permission.
All right, guys. This year,
because imagine every time you use your Face ID, it records it. Then that means Apple is gonna have images that are not to your knowledge,
constantly updating.
Today, okay.
I mean, but this also changes because you do have two-factor authentication,
face
don't you?
mask.
Yeah,
because I mean,
for like Face ID, you have that, and also like
Touch
a PIN
ID
or a password
on the older phones. But yeah, you have your PIN, right?
Or your fingerprint on the Samsung and other Android devices.
I think that'd be so cool if they could do the Face ID with the mask on.
I think they improved on it, right?
Do. Yeah, I think they could do it. Yeah,
I think they improved on it.
Well, at this rate,
right? Yeah, I mean,
they ought to.
Well, like Monza, give out a date. You know, it doesn't have to be accurate. We're all guessing here. Give a date. When do you think this mask situation is over? Mid-year, at the end of the year.
2 years from now.
To be honest, I don't even.
She don't even know.
Okay,
we're gonna get rid of this.
It's a seasonal thing.
I think it's gonna turn into like an every year type of thing. You know, it's gonna turn out to be normalized like a flu. You know, how at the beginning with the flu, everybody was going crazy. You know, because it was like such a strong cold and you had body aches and this and that, and then now. We basically have to get the flu shot every year. Well, if you're in the medical field, it's every year, you get your booster type of thing. So I have a feeling that based on how it's looking and the fact that, now everybody's getting vaccinated, obviously there's a lot of controversy between getting vaccinated and not. I mean,
just by the numbers, the numbers game right now.
I don't know. It could pretty much like stay for a while, until everybody is on the same page. Can be more than 2 years, maybe less, hopefully, Well,
that's fair. That's a fair assessment. About 2 years. But like going back to Josue's point where like technology is getting to the point where they'll be able to scan your face even when you're wearing a mask. That to me seems, plausible because I mean they're getting pretty good at it where like technology will be able to do some sort of X-ray type of vision and they'll be able to make out your face under the mask.
Look at nowadays you have when they're checking your temperature, some of them even use cameras.
What?
Right.
What?
Yes, that's true.
But some people say, or I don't know if it's true, what I've seen on medical documentations where they're saying that laser or optical type of thermometers aren't always the best choice because they're not always 100% accurate. But I mean, I don't know. You guys probably have more insight than I do.
I think there's a lot of things that are not accurate, but here we are.
Big facts. Yes.
A B is all we can ask for.
A B is all we can ask for.
I thought my man said a beer is all we can ask for.
Oh, no.
That too, and some wings or a slice of pizza.
I mean, why not?
And a hamburger.
I'm down. Guys, I'm hungry.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, a B for passing grade, everyone.
Right.
That's the title of the show.
Right.
I mean, hey, for machine learning, that's like it's great because you don't have to be so accurate, but it's also not so great because some of the applications don't. No, in some of the applications you kind of want to be more accurate than
the B.
Than right. No, not right. Than wrong. Because like for example, auto driving cars. If they
can't, B is dangerous.
We've already had a few accidents. Because of that B.
Oh my God.
What happened?
Saw a crazy accident.
Yeah, Marcos tried to drive, but he couldn't.
That implies I got my hands behind the steering wheel.
You did.
Oh,
no,
God.
but I feel like I forgot when. I think it was like 2017, 2018, where like there's an issue of someone had a self-driving car and the car didn't recognize the person and it ran them over.
It ran to the police. Police.
That's crazy.
No, but for real, yeah, a lady was run over by a car. I don't know. I think it was a Tesla. That ran the lady over.
These are our personal opinions, Tesla. Don't sue us.
Well, no, this actually happened. That a self-driving car.
Right,
I forgot if it was a Tesla or not, but a self-driving car. I think it wasn't, because I think it was like in Germany or something. Ran over a lady, and the problem was that the model couldn't recognize, or the car couldn't recognize the lady as a person. It didn't even see the person, so it kept on going.
Whew. It's just a speed bump, guys.
Lord.
And then like we have the problem of will the car be able to recognize every single obstacle there, and then including traffic signs, traffic lights, whenever
a deer crosses in front of the road,
I guess, yeah, whenever a deer crosses the road, or like in those social situations where you're in construction and
the orange vested guy.
Yeah, you have to go through cones. Will the car be obviously? For nowadays, the solution is turn it off and drive on your own.
But what if I'm driving and I can't see well?
Well, why are you driving?
Oh, shh! No one's asking.
No one's asking. No, but like
rudeness.
What a menace this guy Marcos is.
He's like, I'm driving.
I'm exposed over here.
Rudeness. Don't bring that negativity over here.
But yeah, but like that's what Tesla's trying to do, is like having all the cars learn at once, so that it can start to develop that pattern of, okay, this is where this is where that is. As long as there's people driving Tesla cars, the Tesla cars are going to learn. At which rate, I don't know, because I don't know how many cars Tesla cars there are.
Would you get a Tesla?
You gonna pay for me?
Would I pay for you?
Yeah.
Homeboy, I'm over here.
It's like we can share, right?
Trying to drive my Jeep that I got from Costco.
I get weekends though. I get weekends. You can get weekdays.
Wait, you're trying to do what with Costco?
I'm trying to drive my little Jeep that I bought at Costco.
Little Jeep?
It's like, is it battery powered too?
Listen, this is battery powered. All right, I don't got to do no brake changes, no oil changes, no gas.
Only no brake changes. Why aren't you changing your brakes?
That sounds dangerous.
Sus.
Because it's my Jeep. All right.
This is my Jeep.
What does that mean?
It's a battery powered.
I'm pretty
Jeep.
sure cars have brakes.
My little
no
battery powered.
Right.
That's gonna be a struggle when the lights go out.
She does like, the Fred Flintstone with the feet, like onto the pavement.
I'll make a hole at the bottom.
You go through shoes like you go through face masks.
Who says she has shoes?
Listen, Marquito. Come on, I thought we was on the same team. I was gonna let you borrow my Jeep.
He's gonna let you borrow the Tesla.
No,
you know what?
Please,
you know what?
No,
I'm gonna keep it.
No
now.
Tesla for you.
Oh.
No Jeep. No Costco Jeep for you.
Right.
Accident
that was
avoided.
on sale.
Accident avoided.
I had a coupon for it.
Don't.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Where all my couponers at?
She has the whole book of them.
The book of coupons.
Catch me on TLC. Extreme
Don't you remember
couponer.
those like books of coupons that they used to have that you can like?
That's another thing that I think they
That's
do
a
it
magazine.
in stores, that you have to pick up the magazine and you get the coupons right from there.
Yeah. Listen, I never understood those couponing
Stop and
things.
Shop,
Like
I think, does it?
Stop.
people would really get like thousands of coupons and just go shopping all the time. Like,
Yeah, but they pay
Where
a
do you get
cent
all
for
of
their
that?
groceries.
But how much is too much of you want to go for that penny? But like how much is like, oh, I gotta put in 8 hours, picking up all these magazines, when
Well,
is
I mean,
it?
I'm telling you, like, it's crazy. Have you seen that show, like Extreme Couponing? Like Extreme
Yes.
Couponer, that
They're
they
crazy
go to
funny.
the store, they get like thousands of, like, I don't even know,
They
like
jump
hundreds
on the cheaper
hundreds of
item.
like
just to get a
things,
deal.
and then they just give out the coupons. Like the computers be breaking down.
Yes,
Crazy.
yes.
Be breaking down.
No,
I'm serious.
That's
Like it
legit.
freezes.
That's legit. Yeah.
It freezes. Like they can have a bill of like $2,000 and something, and they end up paying like $20,
$5, right?
or like a penny, and you'd be like, "What?"
But it's a bunch of stuff that they probably just
Obviously, I'm doing something wrong.
in bulk. No,
Yeah.
but they buy a bunch of stuff that they probably don't even use, and then they have to figure out a way to like
It's
either
the addiction. It's the addiction of couponing.
It's their high, basically. It's their addiction, right?
It's the addiction of watching the show.
Listen, I just get my coupons at the
Wait.
door, and I'm like, oh, I can't even use it. I need to buy like $30.
But I'm just remembering and trying to go back to one of the earlier points to what Josue was saying. Do you guys have any knowledge of if it's true or if it's really dangerous for now that we're getting 6G connectivity at some point in the future, like planes not being able to function correctly?
With the autopilot, allegedly, and all those things.
Oh, with the 5G?
No, 5G.
But don't
5G.
don't
5G,
airplanes?
okay.
I mean, don't airplanes already have that you could use your phone on the plane?
Airplane mode.
But that's on their Wi-Fi. That's
like
on
they
their
have
Wi-Fi.
a Wi-Fi though, right? That's like
Yes.
something new.
But trust me, it's not 5G. It's barely 4. It's
You have
like
to
3,
pay
It's
them,
like-
right?
It's like a
Yeah,
1.5G.
I believe if you fly Delta, T-Mobile has some sort of alliance with Delta
Contract.
where you get,
Really?
yeah, they have a contract where you can actually use T-Mobile's Wi-Fi
bingo,
connectivity
bongo,
there
whatever.
for free.
You guys heard that,
Yeah,
boys?
yeah.
Delta for the win.
Again, not
We're not sponsored by Delta.
but
Delta.
if Delta or T-Mobile
I mean, we don't
is
mind
listening,
it. I mean,
Elaine
listen, I'm
caught
looking
it.
to travel, but like,
hey, if
Eileen
T-Mobile
caught
or
it,
Delta
Delta.
are listening, shout outs to them. You
Free
know,
flights.
we're waiting for the connect, for the hookup. You
You want
know,
to be like Mikey Chen over here that gets the,
listen, I'm
the
not trying
flight
to travel
reviews.
to like 100 places by the end of this year.
Just one.
big
Just
facts,
one.
big facts.
She wants to travel more than from here to the kitchen and to a bathroom.
To my local
Exactly.
McDonald's.
Hey, don't knock on McDonald's. You know that's
She's gonna be like
Maybe
the
Burger
Key and
King.
Peele sketch where like
Maybe.
he's like he goes to continental breakfast every day.
continental
He goes,
breakfast,
"Ooh."
just a stale muffin.
No. There's a Key and Peele sketch where like the guy goes gets continental breakfast and he's like, oh, I'm going to France. I'm going to Germany. I'm going to this place, that place. Oh, and he's like, oh yeah, he comes every day for breakfast.
That's so cool, though.
Wait,
Does he get
what?
paid for that?
No, those
No,
are the.
it's a sketch.
It's a sketch.
Yeah, it's a skit. sketch that
I
they
think
just.
that'd be so funny though. Imagine getting paid just to eat breakfast at a different place, like a different like.
A blogger
it's the same
probably.
hotel.
Am I gonna get paid? I mean, I'm down.
There's
She's
a
like, I mean,
there's a job position working at the
Where?
There's some no. This is personal
Sign me up.
experience. Right, yeah. Classmates when I was in college would work at the airports and just be the bag loaders in the airport, right? And they would say just because they're working there, they can fly for free on that airline. Like,
One says, get a job there.
let me just
Hook us
say a
up.
guy's name. His name was Sergio, Colombian. He would on the weekends he would go to Germany
his
or he would
Put
Yeah,
on
he
his
would-
name and
Weekend.
everything.
on the weekend
Dang.
he would leave on Friday night, go to work, finish his shift, grab his backpack and leave to Germany for the weekend and come back on Sunday. Or go
I mean, don't flight attendants do that?
Yeah, but that's because he was working as those
Bag
guys that
loader.
those guys that drive the little cars
baggage?
and
The baggage.
and yeah. And they would go to DR or they would go to Hawaii. They would go
Requesting a
to
job as we
That's
speak.
so cool.
they would go to Mexico. This guy literally had a poster. He was in the dorms. Had a poster of every single place. He went to Africa. He went to Japan.
That's what's up.
He went to Germany. He went to China. He went to all those Russia on train. He
It
got
was Russian in Russia.
he got on that there was one.
I mean, anybody willing to give me a tour anywhere else other than where I am right now, I'm down.
Australia, all those things. Like, my goodness, and like, yeah, they're pretty cool. And he got there to pay, he had to work obviously, and got paid and also got to fly everywhere.
That's awesome.
Do you know what airline?
Any airline, as long as you borrow a bag loader in the
Really?
yeah.
She's like Korean Air. I'm gonna go.
I think the easiest way to get like cheap or free flights is if you
work
start
for them.
well, yes, but also if you gamify it where you basically use your credit card points to actually pay for your flights and hotel stays. That's what I did when I went to Japan.
But for 2 days though, like every other day, every week or every week, he'd fly somewhere new.
Well, again, you're gonna have to offset the way you do things. It's not like
Nowadays,
you're in that position to do it, but
because we're working at an airport.
Just
what are you talking about?
We're all working at an airport.
Did we turn French? Who's this we?
Oui.
Oui.
Oui. Excusez-moi. Le no.
Le French.
No, come on. I mean, come on. Wouldn't you love to be in a different spot every week?
Every weekend.
Well, it depends what spot that is. I mean,
France,
Germany. If it's below zero, I don't think you'd be wanting a free booty over here.
What happens if your first stop is North Korea?
That's
you
what I'm
can't
saying.
Fly a plane to North Korea from a normal airport.
Yeah, you can from China.
From a normal airport in the US.
Well, I'm just super saying, you know.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying if you want to go anywhere, I mean, we have to be a little more specific. I think if you make a plan where you have a top tier, like these are the first countries I would like to travel to.
I mean, you could go to South Korea, China, Japan, Europe,
nowadays,
Antarctica, Alaska. Listen, I'm down to go anywhere. I'm have homies that are going to be penguins. Why not?
Penguins. How does she not know she have them now?
She sounds like what's Adam Sandler's character where he's like high as hell and he's like looking at penguins running around and chilling with them. Like that's what it sounded like that to me right now.
I mean, wouldn't you like to have a penguin friend?
I feel like they're very dangerous. Low key, I feel like it's very dangerous.
Typically, wild animals are not good friends.
I mean, as long as they're from Pixar, I mean, or DreamWorks. Yeah, I mean, I have no issue. But if they're real life, like IRL type of like wildlife, that's pretty scary.
I might
already have one, so that's already scary enough.
They might eat you while you sleep.
How big are penguins?
They're like half your size, right?
Yeah.
What?
No, they're like 2 feet tall.
I can't imagine them being like.
I'm pretty sure like the emperor penguin are like 5 feet, bro. Like look that up. Google that. Come on, Google that.
I'm looking.
The emperor.
That's straight. I mean, it's straight cat, but
so
I'm just saying.
Scary.
They are
a bird your size.
The emperor penguin is 3.6 through 4.3 feet.
How much does it weigh?
The little penguin is 12 to 14 inches.
Oh, that's pretty tiny.
A Galapagos penguin is 19 to 21 inches.
That's crazy. That 3 feet one.
The tallest penguin is the emperor penguin.
That sounds like dinner.
Wait, how tall?
The emperor penguin, 3.6 to 4.3 feet.
And how much does it weigh?
Not enough.
That seems a little. No, I can't.
That sounds like a fifth grader.
I can't imagine that. That's like a toddler.
Right, that's a fifth grader right there.
He's almost Emily's height.
Like that's almost as tall as Monse.
That's so scary.
I'm gonna bring him. I'm gonna bring him
nightmares.
I'm gonna bring him back.
You would be able to ride that bird like like a sled. Legit.
Like Aang from the Avatar.
That's crazy.
No, that's actually terrifying.
The largest penguin species ever discovered has been unearthed in Antarctica, and its size is almost incomprehensible, standing at 6'8".
No.
Taller than a basketball player.
No.
With the freaking big beak.
He's dunking on people. That's what it is.
They literally were so bored they made that up. That can't be real.
That's cap.
They went to Photoshop and
the bird's 37 million year old fossilized remains.
That's legit,
which include
big
the
bird.
longest recorded fused ankle foot bone, as well as parts of the animal's wing bone, represent the most complete fossil ever uncovered in the Antarctic.
Yeah,
That's
you know what?
crazy.
You know what
So
beat
it's
it
not
out?
here anymore.
And it was
so it's not here anymore.
appropriately dubbed the Colossus Penguin.
Big bird.
Look at that. That's crazy. Imagine a 6'8" penguin.
I
That,
Yeah,
can't even
big bird,
imagine a
big-
3-foot one.
You're over here confused about
how
a
come
3
they
foot.
look so
the-
small
the emperor-
at the
The
zoo?
emperor penguin weighs from 49 to 99 pounds.
That's
Almost.
dinner right there.
That's a turkey right there.
Basically.
Give me a slingshot and a shot to the head. It's dead. It's
Wow.
down.
Thanksgiving, here we come.
How crazy is that?
That's pretty wild.
And
Pretty
their
wild.
speed is the 3.7 to 5.6 miles per hour.
You can walk faster than that. Yeah, you can't run
Run?
away from it. Wait,
You
you
can
think
run
5
around
miles is
fast.
running? You think 5 miles an hour is running?
Is that them running or walking?
Yes.
Running?
No, they fly. They fly now.
No, they slide. They
Or they
Like
waddle
glide
to
in the
you. They waddle to you and smack you with their beak, and they're like,
No,
"Yeah."
just don't let
They peck
just
you.
don't
They
chase
look
them down a
very
hill.
aggressive. They really do look very aggressive.
If they peck you, they're gonna break skin.
No, absolutely.
Crazy.
So
That 6'8" penguin could just go through your head.
That
You're
it
done.
wasn't
So
so
terrifying.
that penguin is extinct.
But family, you
Thank
imagine that's just one of many wildlife that you might
That's
encounter
cool.
when you're traveling all over the world, right?
I mean, I'm down.
I mean, you
She's
go
out
to
there to meet-
Australia,
Listen,
you
when
might
I
get
die,
attacked.
that is
Right,
all
right.
I'm gonna take with me.
A
Oh no,
penguin?
that's a
I
penguin,
shared
A penguin?
my day with a penguin.
a killer penguin. Yes,
You strangled the penguin to death. Imagine.
We wrestled.
you wrestled in oil.
She wants to go out there to Africa to meet Simba.
The
That's
real
right.
guy, the real Simba, you know.
And Mufasa. Oh wait, no, Mufasa died. Listen, I'm
No,
down
but-
to meet
wants you to
Scar.
think.
Oh wait,
All
no,
right, so-
Scar died too. Dang.
But are you gonna go to like Cape Town, South Africa? Is that what it is? Going to go see the lions?
Yeah.
That'd be
That's what
nice.
she's trying to do.
She's
Yeah.
like,
Oh my
"Why
god, did you guys hear?
always
Okay, like
lying?"
I think it was in India. I believe it was in India. Apparently, like the monkeys in India, I think they're like the baboons. I don't wanna offend the monkeys, but
How dare you?
Oh,
How
yes.
dare you identify them
there was
wrong?
there were some monkeys in India that
monkey.
were stealing they were stealing dogs and they were stealing children. Like
For what purpose?
Hide your wives, hide your kids.
no, because apparently
dogs.
like
Were they holding
Look,
them
the
hostage or for something?
kids.
What were they doing to them? Eating
Like-
them? Like what were they doing?
no. Let me tell you. Look, this
Tell
was a
me.
revenge.
I need to
This
know.
was a revenge capture.
Revenge.
Okay.
Was this taken?
Look, listen to this. 2 killer monkeys captured in India after revenge massacre of 250 dogs. Come look at this. Crazy.
Wait, dogs and kids or just dogs?
So, okay, so it started off with dogs. But then
Oh my
apparently
It
they
started.
okay, so these monkeys would grab the dogs, they would hijack them, right? They would just swipe, like swipe or no swiping, you know? And they would
Only 2
take
monkeys?
them up on the trees and they would drop them like from the top of the trees.
The people's elbow.
I don't know if that's a
serial
people's
killer
album.
crazy is
instinct.
that?
What is that?
What
I
kind
can
of dogs
believe
are they
that.
taking? Like chihuahuas?
I can believe that.
You corgis over here?
No, but
Wait,
monkeys
This
are
was
strong.
in India.
Monkeys are strong.
Monkey fish? Oh,
I want them to try to do that with the mastiff.
Locals contacted some forest department.
You said locals?
Daruers or whatever. Yeah, like people
Locos
that were living
tacos.
there.
Yeah.
A department after the monkeys also attacked some children, creating panic.
Don't worry. Most of you're
crazy.
good. You won't get
Panic
attacked by
too.
monkeys.
So apparently, like a dog killed an infant monkey, and now the
dog?
monkeys were seeking revenge for the killing of that monkey.
Oh no.
wow.
But
How
yeah.
crazy is
But
that?
how many killings is enough killings?
Too
Though?
high. I don't know. I mean, I don't know.
It's never enough.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think that 250 was like the only
body
number. I mean, that I think that
Maybe
was
they
just like.
exaggerated.
I mean,
So
probably it's
so
the news.
once you kill so this is the moral of the story. Kill a baby monkey, make sure you take out the parents.
But no,
Okay,
don't kill a baby monkey.
Without any witnesses.
Why would you kill a baby monkey?
Elaine's with me over here. Oh, whatever
What'd you say?
happened.
That's why you don't tell anybody you're gonna commit a murder. Hello.
I have Eileen as my
But what if
my
they got
lawyer.
caught? Like, what if they have spy monkeys? You know,
They're not the family though. Only that you only kill the mom and
Only
dad
they are
monkey.
monkeys. Like monkeys stick together.
Monkeys together strong.
Unless they smell weird.
I mean, then you get kicked out.
Okay. I was watching Pocket Now and another channel where they
Called
were
Pocket Den.
yes, where they were basically showing the Samsung teaser and the Unpacked event that was announced, where the Samsung Galaxy S22 was teased, and it got me hyped because essentially what they were saying is that they're bringing the Note line back, but they're fusing it or mixing it together with the S line now. So we're potentially getting a Galaxy S22 Note edition. Now,
Marcos, you hear that? You have hope.
yeah, there's hope.
Nani?
Basically,
What? Yeah. What?
So this is quite a revelation, because on top of not only are we getting a new phone, but we're also getting new specs as we usually do. But as far as if it's the AMD chipset or the new Snapdragon or the new Exynos, really depends on the region you live in. But what the more intriguing or interesting part of it is that we won't have to wait long, because essentially Samsung teased it, and it seems like we're getting like really good or great specs for gaming on mobile, but also camera wise, we're getting like really phenomenal like hardware to go along with that. So it's shaping up to be a really well-rounded smartphone. So I'm pretty excited and hyped for it. I don't know, what do you guys think about this? Are you interested? Are you enticed to potentially buy it yourselves? Or are you going to hold off until maybe the S23 maybe?
I have a love for Note, so I'll save up for that one, hopefully.
Fair. Okay. Anybody else?
Any donations are accepted.
The collection plate.
For me,
yes.
though, not for...
The GoFundMe for
The Patreon is right there.
Marcos' Samsung.
It's like the petition is down in the notes down below.
Personally, I'm more of a Apple girl.
As you have an Android in your hand.
This is why the opinions is of our own.
Listen,
of each individual.
why you guys gotta put me on the spot like that?
What are you talking about? That don't make no sense.
Who mentioned the Android in my hand? No. Well,
that would be
me. Like I said, I would personally I mean, I like good pictures. So I'll think about it.
That's so like kind of response. Like I like good pictures. Who doesn't like good pictures, Monse? Come on. Give me a little more. A little more.
Camera.
No. I mean, sounds pretty cool. I mean, whoever uses, I mean, maybe I can get somebody to let me borrow their phone temporarily and be like, all right, let me try it out.
She's already trying to rent out your phone.
Hey, what?
Like you don't even have in your hand.
I mean, you can get some hands-on time if you go to like a T-Mobile or whatever your phone provider is. Yeah, you can go and play around with the phones that they have right there for like on-premise use. You can like play around with it.
Force someone that lives with you to buy it for you.
That's also a viable, situation.
My birthday's coming up, guys. My birthday's coming up.
Oh yeah? You don't say. Mine
Is
too.
it within the next month?
You don't say.
Coming up.
My birthday, my anniversary, my month-iversary,
my rent.
Valentine's Day is coming up, guys.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Listen, I'm open.
My birthday week is also coming up.
To receiving gifts.
My birthday year is also coming up.
Yes, my birthday year. My birthday year is also is pretty much here. So besides that, I'll move on to the second one because I'm pretty sure. I mean, I would love to hear what Elaine's 2 cents is, and then I'll move on to the next one if she has anything that she wants to add.
I mean, it doesn't really affect me. Like, I'm not looking for new phones, so hopefully it comes out good though for the ones who are excited for it.
Big fan.
Okay, fair. All right, so moving on to the
She's an
second
Apple
one.
girl too.
Yes. So moving on to the second one.
Remember, our opinions of our own. Just gotta remind us.
Yes. So just moving on to the second one real quick is $17 billion Samsung plant was named as part of a deal for this year in Taylor. What's it called? Down in Austin, Texas, I believe. So they're building a Samsung plant, a semiconductor plant where they'll be cranking out chipsets for I believe Ford, if I'm not mistaken.
What?
So that might be potentially a great opportunity for people. I don't think so. Or maybe it is the Exynos. I'm not quite sure. I didn't really read too much into the nitty gritty of it
because they're I think most of their their watches use Exynos, right?
I'm pretty sure most of their hardware, if they're not using Snapdragon, because I think that's more for their phones. I think everything else is Exynos, which, I mean, Exynos is not terrible, but it's not the best. I'll tell you that much. As far as performance is,
Qualcomm, Snapdragon.
No, absolutely not. But then again, that we're seeing a divergence, right? A change from Snapdragon to the AMD chip, and this is still in the works. It's not something that's going to come out in any of the phones as of right now, but maybe the S22 or the S23 that might be coming out later might potentially have the AMD chips. So we don't know. And again, depending on what the use is, right? Because AMD usually known for their specs for gaming, and Snapdragon is used for high performance for cell phones and whatnot. So it'll be interesting to see what kind of flavor it gives to the Samsung flagship phones if they do choose to go with that chipset. But I think the more interesting part of it right now is that we're seeing that a plant's actually going to be built over in Texas, which means this is great for not only Texas, but also for people that are looking for jobs in this industry, right? So I don't know about you guys, but I think this is a great opportunity not only for the US, but also Samsung, reaching out to try to do things and not be totally dependent on that side of the earth where they originally are from in South Korea. So they're basically laying out the roots to see what's going on as far as the chip, the semiconductor industry has to say, right? So do you guys have any takes on this?
It's a flow for work. Best bet, it's gonna stimulate the economy. Wasn't there one back in the day though when the big freeze happened in Texas that there was some chip production company already over there?
I don't know.
Aren't there chip production companies already in Texas? I mean, I'm just saying the more the merrier. I'm just saying that there's already been companies over there, which I find awesome. And, more the merrier.
Anybody else? Going once, going twice?
Nope.
No? Okay. I'll read number 3. What to do if your destination still isn't open. So this is a Scott Cheap's Flight article that I was reading. And I found it really interesting just because to Monse's point earlier, going on trips and vacationing is something that a lot of people still probably haven't done in the last 2 years or so. So a lot of people have been cooped up doing, their regular 9 to 5 gig or whatever hours they work and have been stuck at home for the most part of 2 years. And traveling seems really enticing, especially for people that have already bought their tickets maybe a year or two before the whole pandemic started, or maybe towards the beginning of the pandemic. And they've been pushing their availability for their ticket to their destination out to 2022. But the way things are going, we still aren't clear about when things will be a little bit more lax as far as traveling to certain places, where certain countries in Europe are open to the idea of having people from the US traveling to their country and vice versa. Like even countries in Asia and even South America are a little bit maybe more hesitant. But still there's some countries in both sides of the on both sides of the ocean that are willing to, accommodate people, because obviously, financially speaking, it's good to have some sort of commerce come in when you have people coming from all over the world. So in this article, it basically states these type of issues and what can someone in that position do, what they can do if you still have tickets that haven't been used yet because of the whole situation that the world's going through. But also, it highlights places like Tokyo, Japan, because the person that was writing the article had, I believe it was either three tickets that this person purchased, round trip tickets for him and his family, that usually would be about, let's see if I can see the actual price, that it usually comes out to being $3,000. So it's roughly $1,000 each person, but he was able to snag a pretty good price of about $770 for the round trip tickets. So, which is amazing. That's great. But unfortunately, because Japan isn't allowing people to travel in and out that aren't citizens or permanent residents, it's very difficult for you to get a pass to actually go to the country or get out.
Not even to study?
No, that's the least of their problems. I think what they want to do is legit shut down the country. So in their mind, they think that that's what's going to resolve the issue of infection rates and mortality rates, and just being able to have this whole thing blow over. But again, that's neither here nor there. That's very much their decision as a sovereign country. The article here, or the facts here, is what can one do with the situation, or what other options do you have if you really want to travel? Maybe you want to go down to the Caribbean, or maybe you want to go down to Mexico, perhaps, or there's certain Caribbean countries. Or again, you might want to go down to certain South American countries or Central American countries. Again, it's really up to you and your imagination on how you want to structure this, so you can get, the most bang for your buck when you're actually traveling and doing things that perhaps you might not have thought about or considered when you were probably booking your flights to other destinations maybe 2 years prior, right? So it's something that I hope that you guys would take the time to actually read the article. Maybe you'll find some interesting information. But please, Monse.
I know as far as like with the airlines and stuff, I know that they have a minimum of like 24 hours of a negative test from Mexico to here, I believe. Where they used to be at like at least a day, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, before it came back again. But now I know that they, like, some airlines are requesting that it be like 24 hours of a negative test in order to like fly back.
Yeah.
And I know that during the whole pandemic of like 2020, the price, the tickets were cheap, like really cheap.
That was early pandemic. Is it still cheap?
Now I'm pretty sure they've gone up. I mean, they are trying to get their money back, you know? Give me a place.
Question, like I can tell like anecdotal stories from family members, no, from personal, like my parents' coworkers. This person would go to from where we live all the way to Florida within like $50 round trip. I'm like, no way. And he's like, I would need to see the receipts. I'm like, nah. It's like, and the other people that were with him, coworkers, like, yeah, it's super cheap right now just to go to Florida. Imagine going to Disney or anything. Like, to California would have been so much cheaper, but it's like, gosh darn it. Life happens, and I'm like, I wasn't out to flying. I didn't, the world was uncertain, but people were still, capitalizing on that insane price drop. Imagine how much it would have, Japan probably closed right off the bat. So imagine how cheap it would have been to go to East Coast to West Coast to South to California to Florida and then back home or somewhere in the middle. It would have been so much cheaper. Internationally, I don't know. But still,
internationally, I know some people that traveled out and their flights were pretty cheap. I mean, as of right now, I'm looking at a flight to say from here to Mexico, a nonstop round trip comes out to $356.
One way or round trip? You said round trip.
That's a round trip.
That used to be easily like $700, right?
Yeah.
Is that from JFK?
Yes.
Okay.
That is crazy.
Because look, this is also, and let me give you just two little hacks real quick before we pass the baton real quick. So one way of actually getting maybe somewhat cheaper prices on your
this
actual
is like
flights.
a month out. Sorry, I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, obviously you're gonna get a cheaper price if you if you're out a month or two. If you're a month out or two. But if you actually, whether you're on your phone or on your actual, what's it called? Your laptop or what have you. When you put your actual search on private, like say you use a VPN and then you get on your private web browser, you actually go to like Google Flights. You'll be able, not always, but I found that you'll be able to actually find a somewhat better pricing for the actual flight that you intend to take. Now, that being said, you could also potentially get a better price as well if you are a little bit flexible on your destination, right? So just a quick example. Why not try somewhere like Veracruz or Acapulco or Tulum or some other destination that is more touristy on off-peak times. So like say if you were to go to as an example Cancun or Tulum or Acapulco, from JFK to those places, you might find it that it'll cost you maybe $100 or more less than it would be from JFK to like Mexico City, as an example. You would still need to look for those type of prices or whatnot, but that being said, you could probably find those prices, but it really falls on you to adjust to that situation. If you're willing to go from JFK to like say Acapulco, Cancun or Tulum for $200 or $250, and then get there to that airport and say maybe you want to either rent a bus or buy a bus ticket to go from that place to your original destination, which you're paying in Mexican pesos, which is a lot less significant price-wise in dollars.
Crazy. They are like the way you said it. Like to Cancun,
right?
To Tulum, like
Acapulco or something like that.
There is. Here it didn't pop up as like a direct flight, but with one stop, your plane ticket comes out to like $109.
Yeah.
Dang.
So you can literally go.
And
over there.
that's just like one way. I mean, that
Right.
wouldn't be a round trip. But I mean, also, when you travel, especially like within the US, sometimes, you can sometimes check like the round trip and you will get a good deal. But sometimes
Right.
it's best if you buy your one way, and then, sometimes if you're at the location, at the airport, and you say, I want to buy a ticket back home, one way.
Or
Sometimes you can
another.
get it even cheaper, like on the spot, because they're trying to get rid of the tickets,
Yeah, definitely. You'll get
So,
like a flash sale of that
You'll
sort.
get a good deal. Yeah.
Right. And again, it really is up to you. Maybe you don't want to do the bus thing. You might want to say, all right, so I'll go to a cheap hotel, spend a night here in Tulum or a Cancun or Acapulco, and then say you go back to the airport, you take a national flight from wherever you are in that airport to a different state in the actual inside the country, in this case Mexico. And
Listen,
you'll find that it'll be like 50, maybe in cash equivalent in dollars. You might find that it might cost you like $57 to get you from Cancun to Mexico City, or from Cancun to Guadalajara, or Tulum to
Yeah.
Veracruz, or something
Yeah.
like that, and wouldn't be expensive. And
Look, from here to Orlando, it's $31 one way.
There you
No
go.
way.
Absolutely.
And that
Road
would
trip
be saying like
across the country.
leaving on February 10th.
And-
How much is it at Cali?
Let me find out.
Do you really want to go to Cali though? And no shade to anyone in Cali, but would you want to go right now?
Oh no, that's true. Or shit, I'm just saying, just make it like a full square. Full square from northeast, southeast.
I wouldn't be
southwest,
opposed to going to
and
somewhere like Las
northwest.
Vegas, like Nevada or something. That would be awesome.
One stop,
Don't you
I
dare
mean-
say $40.
one non-stop, one way is 107.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not bad.
Normally that'd be like a trip to
honestly,
Mexico.
honestly, in that sense, I'd probably go to Tulum.
Yeah,
I'll be
for
paying.
the price.
I'll be paying like $2 extra,
Right.
but I'll be in Cancun.
Now, and if you have like a branded card,
shade.
like say if you have a branded card like a IHG card, right? Or I don't know, a Hyatt card, potentially you'll be able to rack up points, but also use those said points to offset the prices of your actual stay in that location. It might not be a category hotel, but you'll get your money's worth because you won't have to pay out of your pocket initially like that. So that's how I go about going on vacay. Like I don't necessarily say, oh, I have a budget. Like I'll just look at the amount of points, and if it makes sense, I mean, I don't scoff at the side of a Holiday Inn. I enjoy it. I would rather go to a Holiday Inn because I know it's a good, quality company and hotel. Like I wouldn't be opposed to not, staying at a Kipton, category 5 hotel or
a motel, a category 0 hotel.
How do you feel about Airbnb?
That's another great choice. I mean, obviously, I would definitely look into their ratings on not only where it's located, but the safety, especially when it's a country that you're not familiar with and a place or a location you're not familiar with. You might want to stay in a Airbnb if it's more than 2 or 3 people. Yeah, there's always safety in numbers, right? But
Jesus.
Yeah, I mean,
oh my God, I'm listen, guys, I'm gonna be gone.
It's good.
I'm traveling. I'm leaving. It's 174 round trip
Oh, that's nice.
to Orlando. I'm out.
Right. Now I'm more of a like I'll try to look for, and I'll just name it this way, right? So not to try to give it away the location, but there's an airport that's closer by us, right? And we don't have to mention it, but just an airport.
Tomato Airport.
Right, exactly. And just as an example, a flight from that particular airport to like Orlando or a Miami as a layover and then going to Mexico City, it might cost you about $300. But the added benefit here is that you would, not Orlando or Miami, I'm sorry, the layover would take place in Atlanta, Georgia, right? And it's a one-way, obviously, but it would cost you about $300. But the advantage here is that you don't have to drive yourself all the way or book a cab or call a cab or go to Grand Central by train and then make a transfer. You would literally just have to drive from where we're at location-wise. It would probably take us about 20 minutes or so to get to the actual airport. And then from that airport, layover at Atlanta, Georgia, and then get to Mexico City. That's about $300 or so,
Wow.
Give or take. And the added benefit here only would be the comfortability of you being able to drive 20 minutes instead of driving an hour to the city to JFK and weathering the storm that is traffic there, right?
Yeah.
So that's how I go about it.
That never stops.
Right, and construction there at the moment is pretty wonky out there. So, and this is from personal experience because I've had to drive to JFK it's been a week and a half now or so. So yeah, I mean, for those that want to take the plunge and go to JFK, I mean, please, by all means, just know that you're going to get stuck in traffic because of the construction that's going on.
Public transport, like trains,
right.
It's another story.
Well, that takes even longer, but again,
I can't even accommodate for that one on my own.
each their own.
Yeah.
And to the closer airport that's by our location where we all live by, that would probably cost you $100. That comfort would cost you about $100 more to get you to where you're going. But if you're going to where Monse was suggesting, like a Miami or an Orlando, that would probably not cost you as much, but it would.
Flight?
Yeah, it's still considered a local national flight, so it wouldn't cost you that much. But it's a great alternative and a great option for you to have, so you don't have to go all the way to an international airport like a JFK. That it'll take you longer to get to the actual airport, so you can potentially get to your destination, right? So that's how I look at it. And again, try to maximize your credit card points so you can get the most out of them. That's how I go about it. So that's just a quick tip, guys. And if you guys want more information about that, definitely let me know. I'm more than happy to break that down for you guys.
Cool bean.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
I'm good with it.
Yeah, so let me just read off the last one, and then obviously this is going to be a little, I don't know how you guys are going to take it, but I mean, this is for everyone here, right? So my last point is an article from Market Watch, and this is from a gentleman named Jeremy Grantham. So he's a person that's very well known in what's it called, in the finance and market of Wall Street and stuff like that, just to simplify it for you guys. So he basically quotes, right, or he said that we are in what I think, and this is in quotes, we are in what I think of like the vampire phase of the bull market. So he is very not optimistic. He's very, very negative about what's going on in the market right now, in the stock market. So basically the title of this article is "Good Luck. We All Need It. U.S. Market Approaches End of Super Bubble," says Jeremy Grantham. So as most of you or some of you might know, the market has taken a crazy dip. And I'm not just talking about the actual stock market, but also the crypto market. So whatever you have your money in right now, if it's not cash or even maybe your property, you're in the red right now. Like especially if you're into big tech companies and stuff like that, like a Tesla, like Amazon, Netflix is hurting a lot real bad. I'm talking about these companies are in the red. Now, there's the line of thinking on one side where they say, hey, this is a great opportunity to buy the dip. But on the other side, or on the other hand, you have people saying, oh no, what should we do, right? And are practically, selling off a lot of their positions in stocks and stuff like that, or they're shorting the market. That's another position that they might want to take. So basically what Jeremy Grantham is basically explaining is that should you be scared? Should you sell? Should you buy more? And just to reduce it a little bit, he's basically saying, be wary, but don't panic sell or panic buy. Just be a little bit more stern on how and what you buy. A lot of times what happens is that people want to buy into like the next fad. So a couple of, what was it last year? Dogecoin, right? Yeah. And earlier, before I think we started recording, we were talking about non-fungible tokens like NFTs and stuff like that. Right.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are going towards that way and thinking that might be a safe haven for your money, buying these NFTs or non-fungible tokens or investing into some sort of cryptocurrency. And some people might strike it rich because at this point, to Mr. Jeremy Grantham's point, they're gambling with their money because you don't know if that's going to be your ticket to success or if it's going to